Yes, everyone, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boys, Dave and Jack. And now that international window is over and done with, we can focus and put all of our attention back on Ange Ball this weekend. Exciting times ahead. Just looking at the new intro there. By the way, everyone, big up Nick in the comments for that. It's an absolute belter. But seeing the Champions League behind us when we're walking down the tunnel, I mean, hopefully we'll be back there next year, you know. But Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
We're on the other side of the Ange Ball, Dave. We're now closer to it than we are further away from Ange Ball returning, which feels good. The withdrawals don't feel as big or don't feel as strong. I don't have to watch pretty dreadful international games between teams that don't really care much or really don't have much of an idea of what they're doing. It's just nice to see that Spurs are going to be returning back quite soon. And also as well, I think we've had a new itch come into the team, which is always brilliant to see. I'm always, happy to see any, itch of any kind come into Tottenham Hotspur, but it is going to be definitely a special, Luka. We've now gotten a new Luka, Dave, from the old one. So let's see if this guy can be anywhere close to the original Luka that we once had in this team. But yeah, Dave, I'm keeping him right. Ollie Freeman sent me a video of him in his Spurs kit, going on a nice run. He went on a nice, strong 5K as well. Looks like there's a bit of a trend going on. People are just, running around their neighborhoods, with the Spurs kit on, loud and proud. And I'm loving it right now.
Do you know what, Jack? I think that's something we could get trending, right? We're in an era where, look, I probably should actually listen to it or pay attention to it a bit more, where people are, out there exercising, they realize the health benefits and all towards it. I should probably listen to it myself. But, I think that's something we can work with, Jack. So if you are out running, around your local area, because we've got a good worldwide fan base here. So what we can do is we can spread the message of Tottenham Hotspur. So if you are out exercising, do it in your Tottenham jersey, or if you want to go above and beyond, your Tottenham kit, and send the videos in to myself and Jack. So let's maybe get on that one. We can get that sort of trending, and, we can maybe see it on Sky Sports one day, breaking trend. People running all around the world, just randomly out running in Tottenham kits. So that'll be absolutely brilliant. But look, we do have a lot to talk about tonight. Of course, the trust, the Supporters Trust have just announced that their second demonstration against ticket prices will go ahead this Saturday before the game against Sheffield United. It will start at 2 p.m. on the High Road opposite Gate 23, which is the southwest entrance. More strength comes from our togetherness, being that number. What do you make? So basically, what do people make of the trust doubling down and putting more pressure on the ticket price hikes? I know it was a bit controversial. Some people maybe understand it due to inflation and business costs, etc., and others, like myself, I will never agree with something like that. I think for me, there has to be a bit of give and take with no European football, with the fans also feeling the effect more than what Tottenham Hotspur would. I think that's one they probably could have took on the chin. But, like I said, it's controversial, so we'll definitely talk a bit about that if you want to. Also, a bit on the fan forum meeting. Of course, Daniel Levy, Ange Postecoglou, club captain SONNY are set to speak in front of a room full of Spurs fans on, when is it? I think it's the 19th of September, Tuesday the 12th of September, with a host of other important figures at the club. And that's actually taking place tomorrow. I think the women's manager and the captain of the women's team will also be represented at it as well. So that will take place. Basically, is there any sort of questions or anything during that you would like to see posed to the board and you would like answers to? So maybe let us know on that. Anyone that wants to know, obviously it starts tomorrow. It's probably a bit late, but, there was emails sent out inviting applicants from the men and women season ticket holders, One Hotspur members, premium members, and those from supporters clubs and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see who ends up going there and what ends up coming out of that. Like Jack said, you also got the young signing of Luka Vuskovic as well. I absolutely butchered that. Jack probably cringed when I said that, especially with it being an itch. But for me, I think when you look at it, the club were happy to offload Sanchez after the deadline day. They're happy to oust Eric Dyer from all playing duties, even though he went squealing to Levy. So I love Big Ange for that. But, he's also been ousted, and Ashley Phillips has been promoted. I reckon Darrington will probably be next up, and that's why they're getting this guy in, then he'll develop, and then he'll come up after them. So is this a purpose ploy by Tottenham sort of going forward, that we are going to put our faith into some of the the younger guys, because when you look at the money out there for some players, me and Sean had this discussion earlier, some of the talent you're getting for some of the money you're spending, it does not match up. It's nowhere near it. And, you know, we all know that Daniel Levy will never take that risk. So, you know, do you agree with the strategy going forward, or do you not? So, Jack, they're the talking points going ahead today. What's your thoughts?
There's a lot definitely that there's a lot that you have there. I guess there's only been so many home matches, so it's kind of interesting, right? That there's going to be another protest, because it feels like so many games have happened. But when I think about it, most of the games have actually happened away from home, and they've actually been happening at home this season. When it comes to the fan forum, I could see it only being, I don't know, like, how much are you really going to get out of Levy? How much are you really going to get out of some of the players? Who's to know? But I still think it's always a good thing at the end of the day, whether it ends up being pretty catered and pretty sort of edited and manufactured and all those sort of things that you don't want it to be. I mean, I still think it's a step in the right direction, because I would sort of have the question, why weren't they doing it before? Why is it all of a sudden that they're doing it now? That would be kind of my big question that I would ask Levy, and I would expect him actually to be able to answer that. Even if he does give you a bold-faced lie, it seems like that's a fair question to ask. And so maybe we could talk about that during the fan show. But yeah, the signing of Vuskovic, is that something you can get behind? Is that something we kind of just have to think about, like a Papa Matasar, you know, Destiny Udoji type situation, where it really is just one way down the line for the future? But it also kind of makes you think more about, you know, the vision and sort of the I guess the changing of the squad, you know, by Perisic and by others, you know, in that recruitment team. I mean, to see this team now, it looks so much younger, so much brighter, so much more full of talent than it ever used to be. And that's another thing that I think we can definitely talk about, is just sort of the regeneration of this Tottenham squad. Do you want to keep Sonny at striker? I think that's an interesting thing to chat about, you know, for Sheffield United. Do you want to just keep him up there? Do you give Richarlison another chance? And also because, right, you don't want to make too many changes, you know, in between that game and the Arsenal match and the North London derby. You probably want to have some sense of confidence, you know, in what your kind of established 11 might be, at least for those upcoming two games. And then last but maybe not least, you know, back to Perisic. I know Scott Munn, there's some sort of rumor that he is going to try to bring in a new director of football. I mean, can he bring Perisic back? Like, and is that a good, is that a good idea to go after, you know, a different director of football? I mean, I would wish that person all the luck in the world, but I feel like Perisic done such a good job, despite his, you know, maybe crimes elsewhere, you know, with a different club. He's done such a good job. I would be a bit sad to see him go.
Well, do you know what? Just on that quickly, Jack, and then we'll get to the chat. Sorry about that, chat. We're doing it a bit awkwardly today. But just on that quickly, I think, look, it was a purpose employed by Paratici to lower the average age of the Tottenham squad. And by doing that, what you're seeing is a more energetic football team, players that are more hungrier, players that are executing the basics, a team that's playing more on the front foot. And that's because overall we've got more energy, right? So, you know, lowering the average age of the squad has been to Tottenham's benefits, despite all the Dyer and Sanchez fans still crying that they're not a part of the new project. What I'll also say is that you know, it'd be interesting now, because when Paratici interviewed for the job, right, he would have put his vision forward, but also at the club, he would have updated that vision and players as he's gone along. Now that he can no longer do any of that, we don't know 100%, but it'd be interesting to see, Jack, whether the club are sort of benefiting off the last of Paratici's vision, and do they have the next idea off the back of that to keep implementing it, or do they bring in a DOF and change that altogether? Be very interesting to see. I think bringing in another DOF will sort of be very, very risky. I'm happy for them to wait for Paratici to be unbanned and bring them back in here because of what I'm starting to see unfold. You know, we've always argued, you know, I get the frustrations in and around, is a lot of this for the here and now. That was the argument over Paratici, but now we're starting to see the benefits of it. So it'll be interesting to see whether they have a concession plan with Paratici, or whether they're still sort of the signings we've seen this summer off the back of the last of that, and then we end up going a different direction. But look, you know, there's plenty to talk about. So, you know, anyone that wants to come on any of them points or a couple of them points, feel free to sort of get on them and come on and have a conversation with us about them. Let's welcome a few people in. Big up Dan Davenport, breaking news, Paul Pogba banned for 4 years for taking a drug.
Yeah, he's really watched his whole career just completely just turn around and go completely backwards. But yep, that's the big news right now. Paul Pogba has I guess received a ban from football.
Look, what I will say is, obviously, I think we'll have to wait for more of that to come out, because I've known, for instance, Rio Ferdinand's talked about when he had to serve a ban, and it was something stupid like he took something for an illness or something like that, and he didn't, he forgot to put it down and stuff. I've heard of cases like that, because it's very, very regimented, some of the stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of that. I'd say it's more likely going to end up being along that case where he's just had a dose or something. He's took a cough medicine and hasn't put it down and stuff like that. THSE till I die. Big up Dermatron. Hopefully we see you next week, my man. Big yourself up, and hopefully Derval is keeping well. Big up Ellie. Says, can't wait for the fan show. It makes my week complete to talk with you both. Much respect. Well, Ellie, it's vice versa, my dear. This is we do claim our favorite show of the week, because we do get to speak to you guys and hear what your opinions are on all of the stuff happening around Tottenham Hotspur. That's what it's about. Big up, Michael. Great to see you in the building. Also, Adrian Schrocker. Good evening, my man. Hopefully you are keeping well. Enjoyed that chat with you the last day, brother. So big yourself up, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon. Big up, Chris, new channel member. I presume he's just updating or refreshing, but big up, Chris, my man. Great to have you back on board, brother. And he also says, evening, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Irish Army. So bored without watching Ange Ball. Roll on next week. Try and be an Ireland fan, my man. I've watched everything for... Do you know what? Watching Ireland reminded me of watching Tottenham for the last 3 years. And by the way, Doherty was absolutely atrocious for Ireland yesterday. We won a penalty, went 1-0 up. Doherty, the ball comes towards him. No pressure on him. Simple cushion header down to the guy in front of him. Didn't do it. Panicked. Gave the ball straight to Holland. They went up and ended up getting a penalty and scoring off the back of it. And then all game, he was just giving the ball away, kicking it straight back to the goalkeeper a number of times. Very frustrating. And, I sat there blessing myself, thanking God we had Porro and Emerson at this football club, and we have moved on from them. So, Chris, try and be a Republic of Ireland fan right now, my man. I never thought I'd say this, but I can't wait for Ange Ball quicker than you, my man. So big yourself up. King Hoddle's back in the house. He says, bring back the Prem. I think you're echoing thoughts of us all, along with Cuva99. Even all, Sheffield United cannot arrive fast enough. Everyone, I think, is on the same boat. Evening, Kate. Great to see you. And hopefully you and Jim are keeping well. Big up, Marcus. Well, great to see you in the building, sir. Hopefully you're keeping well. Along with Marek, we're doing good, my man. How are you keeping? Let us know in the comments. Cuva, new YouTube member. I think he's just probably upgrading, Jacko.
Yeah, actually, he's grabbed the Flat Cap membership there, Kuva. Thanks for joining the Flat Cap Army, my friend. And welcome to all the benefits of the Flat Cap membership, my man. You can, of course, still participate in the fantasy league. I think you're already in there, and you're probably above me because, like I continue to say, sort of after week one, I do so well, and then I sort of just completely forget about it, immediately afterwards. And then also too, I think this week, we're going to see some extra sort of members content out there for you. And also, I guess we had the podcast, which I hope to do again sometime soon, the members podcast. Big up to you, Kuba. Hopefully you're keeping well this evening.
And by the way, the quiz as well. A lot of you members missed out on the quiz. Fan show and elite members missed out on the quiz the other night, Friday night. So make sure you look out for that at the end of this month, and make sure you hop on it, because Kate has stole the lead on everybody. So you've got to catch her. You have to catch her. Jack did win, but obviously Jack participates but can't win the prize. But Kate was next in line. So make sure you guys get on that. There will be a prize at the end of the season. Over the course, whoever accumulates the most points over the course of the season will win a prize. So make sure you look out for the next one at the end of this month. But big up, Kuvan. Hopefully the move is going well for you, my man. Hopefully you and the kids have settled into the new area. Big yourself up. Gio Ria. Big up, my man. Great to see you. Also, Lewis Schnelder, morning from Germany. Big up, Schnelder. You've recently sacked Hansi Flick from the international scene. Interesting.
I'm confused how it's morning though for Mr. Schneider. I'm confused how it's it should be the evening time in Germany, but maybe it's maybe it's still light up. Big up to you, Mr. Schneider.
Big up. Graham, big up, Graham. Great to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. Great to see you, my man. Big up, Keith Edwards as well. He says, Jack, Dave, carry on the good work. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, my man. We're back and forth now this week, now that there's stuff to talk about. You know us, we don't sit there, if there's nothing to really talk about or the news doesn't change, you won't really see too much from us. But now that this week there's a lot of things to talk about, We are back up in full scale, my man. Big up Benjamin Foster, evening Jack and Irish. Great to see you, Benjamin. Let me know where you're from in the comment section, brother. Big yourself up. Me, a member for 11 months, Jack says, loving the new intro, guys. Looking forward for Ange Ball being back. Hashtag happy clapping. Happy hashtag choo choo. Are you on the train, Jack?
I'm always on the
driver, you or
train.
me?
She's just taken the conductor role, without, even asking, because I think she's just been waiting to be this happy. She's just been waiting to lead her own happy clapping train. And there can be more than one, there can be multiple trains going into the happy clapping station. And Mia, I think, has also shown that while she is super behind Ange and she is really excited about what this season can and how it can go, she's also being still a bit, sort of realistic, or a bit sort of kind of hesitant about not getting too ahead of herself. So happy clapping while not getting, full delirium, at the same stage. So big up to you, Mia.
Big up, Mia. Hopefully you're keeping well. Let me know though if you want to be the driver of that train. Big up, Nomad. All white kit, European Spurs kit. Love it. As our home kit. Do you know what? I do admire it, but part of me does only want to see it when we're in Europe, because it is synonymous with that. It is special. It highlights the occasion of being in Europe, in my opinion. But look, some people just call me being a boring old fart. So, but look, that's where I'm at with that, Nomad. Phil Coy's member for 13 months. Vuskovic, hearing and reading good things about this kid. Futures bright, futures lily white. Come on, you Spurs. Another itch in the cheap in your team. Jack's happy with that. And by the way, everyone, get over and check out Jack's scout report on that very kindly. Kind of put some plans to the side yesterday to get that done and uploaded. So make sure you get over and check that out. But Jacko, this guy, I believe Man City sort of were circling like sharks ready for this guy along with PSG, Liverpool. What would you say about Vuskovic, Jack, to Phil?
Yeah, there's only so much you can say about a 16-year-old, right? You can't really say like, oh, I've been watching this guy for years or anything like that. I mean, I wish I could say that, because if my dream, alternate life is sort of to live actually, in sort of the land of the itches, and to be scouting these young 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old itches, that would be my absolute dream. But sadly, I cannot. Sadly, I don't have the access to that sort of thing. So we only are really allowed to sort of base, this sort of transfer on sort of the research of others, and from various articles and sort of things like that I was able to gather. I mean, he basically is probably the most talented center back, or at least one of the most talented center backs of his age group in and around Europe. And he also, too, is one of the most talented players that Croatia have even produced in a long, long time, or at least for a kid of his age. He's pretty much broken every record that a young player, of his age would, right? He scored, I think, some of the most goals in his whole team, even as a center back. I think he was the youngest ever goal scorer for, a Croatian player, I think, in the UEFA Youth League. I think he was the youngest player to ever even score, like, in the Croatian league in general. He's one of the youngest players to even make a debut, I think, in the Croatian league in general. He's just pretty much, hopefully the next Luka of Croatia. And he could be the big one to come through here. And they already have, Gavardiol, but to have, another sort of real top center back like this being produced is a really good sign. And he just seems to be the real deal from what I can tell. And the fact that Man City, Newcastle, all these other clubs were, trying to poach him away so quickly and so early, when he was still 15 or basically, is just crazy to think about. So I'm actually relieved that Spurs in some way have actually gone ahead of this. And I'm actually kind of surprised at the same time that we've gotten ahead of all these clubs, because usually when you have teams like that sort of sniffing in around you, you're not going to think very much about Spurs. But it also says a lot about the youth development that we have here. Maybe guys like Vuskovic think there's a better chance of him getting into the team sooner rather than later with Spurs than a Man City.
Yeah, 100% for sure, Jack. Look, what I will say about the club, they've never really got it wrong when they've gone to sign Croatians. Perisic, Modric, Luka, Kranjčar, people like that. They've got a good record. So hopefully this guy's the next itch to come true. But big up, Phil, my man. Absolute legend. Great to see you in the building, brother. Who else have we got? Ian Ferguson says, afternoon. Oh, big up, Ian. Big up, Daniel Field. Big up, chats. We've got another Luka. Just like Jacko said, my man. Adrian Schrocker says, Dave, mate, the club sent me the same PR email Sean got about fans forum Tuesday, 19 September with Levy and Son. Obviously, this is a PR exercise, but a welcome attempt to connect with fans. And look, we'll get into it on a discussion on it. I 100% get it. I mean, none of us are oblivious to it, right? A good leader would have been out there in Jose's difficult times or in Conte's difficult times, not at Cambridge, you know, so it shows weak leadership. Obviously, from a business side and point of view, it makes good sense for him to do all this engagement when things are going the right way. So I'm not fooled by it. However, at some point, you know, there has to be some sort of middle ground where club and fans can meet, and that we can use this as a stepping stone go forward in future as open dialogue. And hopefully one thing to come out of it is maybe that this can happen every 6 months or every season, you know, and stuff like that at some point. So look, I get it. I get all the it's a PR stunt and stuff like that. 100%, I get it. But like I said, at some point there has to be some sort of middle ground where everyone can meet, so that we can start maybe putting things in place for better communication in the future. Paul Markey says, love seeing the Paratici vision starting to develop and bear fruit. We've got to keep this guy on board as a consultant and back in his position when his ban is big. Jack, that's where I'm at with it. I said that earlier on where you asked me, where I was at with it. Where are you at with it?
Yeah, I understand that he's obviously banned from actually operating in the real role that a director of football would, Paul. But I just feel like he has done such a great job at Spurs compared to his predecessor of Steve Hitchen, that it would be crazy, I think, to just sort of at least get rid of him out of the club entirely. I think Paratici should in some way still have influence here around Spurs. He's been able to secure some absolute diamonds of signings for very, very cheap. And we know Daniel Levy loves that because it's somebody that he hasn't had to pay too much for. But then immediately after they've only played 1 or 2 games, it's almost like their value, right, has tripled or doubled because they just show to be such talented players in the first place. And Paratici has lowered the squad age. He's improved the youth academy. He's basically done, and also I think had done pretty much a better job in the outgoings than actually what we had done this season in comparison, you know, without having him around. I think he has done a much better job than maybe he ever was really given credit for. Now it seems like he's being given a bit more credit for it. It just feels like Spurs will probably go for a different director of football just to save face or just sort of kind of move on from him. But I don't know. Call me crazy, Paul. I think that would be a mistake. I think he's done such a great job. His vision is clearly lining with what Ange Postecoglou wants. And you look at some of the signings that he's made for this team that just sort of were players out of nowhere that none of us even really knew very much about, and are now some of our favorite players in this team and are absolutely, you know, a part of our future. He's delivered us plenty of diamonds of signings. Yes, he's had maybe his moments, but I think for the most part, he's done a great job. And I feel like maybe the black mark that he has from Juventus, that's going to always hinder us and it hurts us. But he didn't, you know, commit those crimes, you know, with Spurs. He's only done it at Juventus. And that's why I would just give him the benefit of the doubt to continue doing his, you know, his slippery little work, you know, with Spurs.
Look, everyone knows my thoughts on the Paratici situation. I mean, we pretend like it was all Paratici that devised and cooked up the plan. I mean, the Juve owners would have had to have signed it off. The Juve players, you know, the likes of Chiellini, Ronaldo, they all took the payments, right? Kept it hush-hush. But, you know, they never have to carry the can. And with these things, there always has to be a fall guy. And unfortunately, Paratici put himself in the position to be that fall guy, and he was the scapegoat through it all. But you know, we talk about having to get rid of him because he brings the club into disrepute. But so is Joe Lewis, you know, insider trading. So, I mean, and he's still here and he ain't going anywhere anytime soon either. But look, what I would say is, Jack, you know, I think we've all come to the realization that Tottenham are never going to go into the market and, you know, spend £100 million on a player, right? So we've all sort of said, okay, well, now we have to get on board with smart recruitment. And that has to be the way forward. And, you know, with Paratici, it gives us that. You look at the likes of Vicario. We could have just went for the David Raya one to appease the fans and appease the noise in and around at that time. But we didn't. Stuck to the guns, got in Vicario. And, you know, there's talks of him this week. You know, can he replace Donnarumma? You know, you bring in a Doji. Yes, okay, the club were criticised for buying and having to wait a season, that it wasn't for the here and now. But look at the benefits of having the guy in the team. Van der Ven looks like an absolute colossus. You look at Emerson, a lot of people have criticised the signing, but when you look back on it, he's better than Aurier, he's better than Doherty and all these other players. So it's an improvement. You look at Pedro Porro, again, another one with a lot of questions around him, but has improved. Romero has improved. You know, that defence. You go into the midfield. Basuma, okay, it didn't work out under Conte, but you bring in the right manager for him. Look at how much he's improved. Madison, etc. So a lot of the recruitment that Paratici has done is coming to the fore. Now, what I will say is, we have been here before, Paul, where, we started off season well, and then all of a sudden it's tailed off. So, I'm going to hold back a little bit, and I'll gloat more when it comes to January, February, and we're still maintaining this, because I've had my bridges burnt too many times before, with some of the, with some of the way we've tailed off. So I am going to hold back a little, but if we're talking about in terms of good recruitment, and you look at some of the players now, Doji looks like, with the way the market's going, he could go on to be £100 million player, the same as someone like Van der Ven, people like that. So when you look at it, for me, if we're looking at it from what's good for Tottenham Hotspur, outside of all the other noise and the circus going on around the guy, he is good for this football club. But now it's just a question of, will the board keep him in an advisory role and hold out till the ban is done, or will they not? Because, the other argument side of the coin, Jack, is what we've seen this summer, right? Where we haven't been able to ship players out the door. Whereas if Perisic was there, I think a lot of them players would have been loaned out either, but there would have been moves sorted out for them, and which means we could have acted a bit more differently on deadline day. So that's the other flip side of it. But Paul Markey, let me know, my man. Let me know. Big yourself up, brother. Really appreciate the support. Also, Darren Ferrin, great to see you in the building. Hotspur hippie, I'll have a look now in a second, my man. Big yourself up. Big up Erwin from all the way from Waterford. Great to see you all. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Along with Stevie Webb. Great to see you, brother. Davey Hall in the building. Great to see you. Just a girl who loves Spurs. Says, bad weekend, Dave. Jack, car accident. And then Jim broke his arm in 2 places. Had better weekends, but we are alive. So all is okay. I'm absolutely sorry to hear that. I'm absolutely sorry to hear that. Everyone in the chat wish Kate and Jim, a speedy recovery. Arm broken in 2 places. Not very good. I'd say very, very sore. But look, the main thing is that the 2 of you have survived. So, that's the main thing.
It's kind of you even to be with us here, Kate. And I'm really sorry that happened this weekend. That's not, you don't want to have something like that happen, on your days off, over the weekend when just trying to relax and everything. I'm very sorry to hear that with Jim as well. I hope you're able to be a good nurse to Jim, and I hope he's doing all right, because that does sound really painful. That's no fun at all. And especially, breaking an arm, breaking anything, it takes a really long time in certain cases too. It's no fun at all. If we could sign the cast, if there is a cast, Kate, I would love to sign the cast if Jim has one. But really do appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in the first place. And, I hope we get to see you and him on at some stage soon. But I'm sorry that happened this weekend.
Jack wanted to sign the cast. That's absolutely hilarious. Let's see how many signatures we can get on Jim's cast there. Okay, cheer him up a little bit. Big up, Kate. Great. I'm very sorry. But look, the main thing is that the 2 years are still alive. So, I know it's bad times and all, but take that as an absolute blessing. Big up, Carl Higgins. Great to see you in the building. Also, DB, great to see you, my man. Hopefully you are keeping well. Daniel Sandoval as well. Great to see you, along with Derek Hutchinson. Wisdom as well. Wisdom Wolf. DB also asked quickly, we need to know if Perisic is still working with us. If it's legal for him to act as a consultant, then the club should let us know. No, look, it is legal for him to act in an advisory role. That was what came out of the last sort of court appearance and what have you. He can act in an advisory role, but what he can't do is actively ring clubs on Tottenham's behalf, trying to sort loan moves, this, that, and the other. But what he can do is, if Daniel Levy wants to go for a coffee with the guy, he can put forward suggestions. But what he can't do is he can't have any communication on Tottenham's behalf, basically. So he goes to Daniel Levy, and then Daniel Levy does the communicating. That's the way it's working right now, DB. But that is legal as far as my research tells me, my man. But big yourself up. But look, I think we'll crack on, Jacko. We've got a lot of people in the back end that want to come on and have their say.
Yep.
So, guys, we are going to crack on. We're going to get the guests on. Make sure you hit that like if you are enjoying it. Share it out to other Spurs fans. And let's see if we can crack the 12,000 subscriber mark tonight. We're only about 30, 40 away. So let's see if, the goodwill of all you flat cap army legends can, help push us over that boundary, and, also create, a new audience, new people coming in, more friendly people. As you know, we won't let anyone that's out of line in. So, we'll deal with that on the spot. But look, we are going to crack on. We're going to get guests on. So make sure, feel free to keep getting your comments in, engage with us, put questions in the chat that we can put to the guests and stuff like that. Feel free to make it a super chat if that's what you want to do and help support everything that myself and Jack will do here, or grab one of them channel memberships, small fee every single month, and goes a long way to help your boys out, you know, and everything we push out. But also, you know, don't feel obliged. We understand that times are tough out there. You know, inflation is tough, you know, for everyone at the minute with the price of goods and stuff like that. So, you know, the least we ask is just that you, sorry, Jesus, my voice went there. I said the least we ask is that you guys, you know, just continue to engage with us in the chat at the very least. And but look, Jacko, we'll crack on. We'll start getting on the first guest. Who's the first guest? Just before we do, Ben Kaufman says 25 big, tasty months.
Very tasty months indeed, Mr. Ben Kaufman. You've been brewing for over 25 months now. You've been here with us for a very long time, and I imagine the YouTube scene is definitely a bit more caffeinated now that you're with us. And also, thank you for your support, my friend, on everything that you do for us with this channel and with other channels as well. Big up to you, Ben, and hopefully you're having a good day today too, to you, my man. Big up to you. Big
up, Benji. Hopefully you're keeping well. I love the fact that the guy rocks the flat cap, you know, every single day of the week or some sort of cap. Absolutely love that. And Ben, your coffee's absolutely unreal. You know that. Next time I'm over, you know, I need to pop down for one of them delicious coffees, my man. But big yourself up, and everyone do check out Ben's channel as well. The coffee company or the coffee company. Get over and check that out as well. He does sort of streams, you know, more or less every day in and around lunchtime. So make sure you just get over and check that out. But big up, Ben. Really appreciate that, my man. Big up also Kaylee Davies. Wales are winning 1-0. Is it Brennan Johnson? Let me know. A big up Sean Brown. Not quite. Look, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're not there yet. You know, we still need to get there, but we're not shy of it. But look, let's crack on, Jacko. Who's our first guest this evening?
Brad Matthews. Let's bring him on, the man on the blue couch.
Let's get him on. Sounds dirty, Jacko. It sounds dirty. Yeah.
If this sofa could speak, it would be very boring, actually.
I doubt that, Brad. I say,
yeah. But first of all, I didn't realise what had gone on with Jim and Kate over the weekend. I've just seen that message. So let's wish Jim a speedy recovery. And as you say, they're both safe and alive. So so it doesn't not sort of thing to happen on a weekend. But hopefully he gets better soon.
No, 100%. 100%. Like I said, Kate, you know, you probably get more of that. So, you know, hopefully it cheers you up a little. But like Brad said, you know, you got to take the fact that you're still alive as a victory for sure. Brad, where do you want to take this? I mean, look, we've got so many things to talk about. What do you want to talk about this evening?
Well, I think I can just basically say what everyone else has been saying. It's good that we got Tottenham back this Saturday. Right? I just don't see the point of these international breaks.
Too many?
Cuba, yes, definitely has. When did this all start happening? We'd have a whole 2 weeks for a couple of. I understand that you have to play qualifying games for tournaments, but it used to be like you play on a Wednesday. You know.
Do you know what it is, though, Brad? I think a lot of the international windows they actually have remained the same, but. I think the one at the end of the season is the one that has maybe changed a little because they're trying to squeeze more games in. But the reason why that's come about is because before you used to play maybe one qualifier and a friendly. But the whole idea is that you sort of eliminate the needless friendlies and everything is you're playing for something continuously because what was happening is players were pulling out of not turning up for friendly games. And look, obviously international football was losing a lot of money with a lot of these friendlies and stuff like that. So it's all about trying to make every single game on the international window now, especially in Europe, competitive.
Yeah, I guess so. And I understand that's why they brought in that other competition, didn't they? That European, League. Whatever it's called. But you still see loads of friendlies. You know, it's like, to be honest with you, I had to check my Sky Sports app to see who England were playing. You know, and then I didn't even know. I was like, have we got another game? And I didn't even know until Saturday that we were actually playing Scotland tomorrow night. You know, which is probably the one friendly that you actually do want to see. It's you know, especially when Scotland have actually been going quite well now. But yeah, it's just you know, you spend the whole weekend, you know, reading, you know, hopefully not reading about your players getting injured. You know, we had the scare with Romero, which seems to be okay. You know, And I don't know. Look, okay, I guess England are pretty well more or less going to qualify, but I'm watching that game which was incredibly boring. But then we've been used to watching handball the last 2 or 3 weeks. I was bored out of my brain watching that game, but at the same time, when Maddison got taken off, I thought, oh great, thank God for that sort of thing. He's not injured, he got taken down in a couple of sort of pretty nasty tackles. And tomorrow, Scotland, England at Hampden, that's not going to be friendly. That's going to be, so you just sort of wonder, well, hopefully we'll get through it. It was strange watching England not worrying about Harry Kane getting injured, I must admit. That was a bit weird, but I just it just takes all the momentum away, I guess we're saying the problem is we've got another one in October, so I've got a mate coming home from Australia who wants to see the England-Australia game. So I've sort of booked up tickets for that today, and it's on like a Friday night. It's like Friday night at football. Who knew? So it's frustrating, and with the momentum that you gain as well. I guess the other way of looking at it is if you had a bad start, then you think, oh, thank God for the international break. But I just hope that we can beat Sheffield United on Saturday, because I think that's a game that in recent years will prove difficult. But the way we're playing at the moment, it's a game that we should win. We should win comfortably. And if we can get through that game and win that comfortably, then the real stuff starts. Arsenal away, Liverpool at home. By the end of those 2 games, we'll have a better idea of how we're going to go. And I heard what you said earlier, Dave. Yeah, it's great what's happening at the moment. But apart from Man United at home, we've probably won all the games we thought we should have won. And it's almost like Arsenal last season. It's when they were going well, it's they haven't played anyone decent yet, sort of thing. So we're sort of in the same boat, really. So yeah.
So that's the thing, in years gone by, when I was on the Pochettino, Redknapp, people like that, they would have been easy victories, right? One you would have chalked up for 3 points. But in years gone by, the last couple of years, they've been hard. We've been outplayed in a lot of them sort of games and fought. And that's why people are getting gassed up now when we're winning them games. But in reality, the games we should be winning, we're Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. We should be beating the likes of these teams. So look, the real test, like you said, is to come, Brad. How do you think we'll get on? How many points are you looking for out of the next 3 games?
I mean, obviously, anything other than a win against Sheffield United is not acceptable. I would accept a draw at Arsenal. I mean, admittedly, I obviously would rather win, but we haven't got a good record there. I'd accept a draw. And quite honestly, I think we're due to beat Liverpool. We haven't, beaten them for a while, and we're at home. If you offered me today, beat Sheffield United, draw at Arsenal, and beat Liverpool, I'd snap your hand off without a doubt. And I think if we did achieve that, if we got a decent draw at Arsenal and it was a decent game, we played well, and then we played well against Liverpool, like we did against Man United, and won that after having put Sheffield United away 2 or 3-0, then I think we could actually look forward and think, actually, this could be a decent season. Even though I'm still sticking to my mid-table prediction, because I still think that until the defence settles in, I mean, they've done incredibly well so far, but until that really gels, I think when we play teams like your Man Cities and that, we could be found out a little bit. But it's all looking good. I like the idea of signing these new young players. That says 2 things to me. One is we're looking at the future, obviously, but also it says that they're believing that Ange is going to be here for the 4 years of his contract. So because in 4 years' time, these young players like Ashley Phillips, all right, maybe not this 16-year-old guy that we signed, but yeah, they should be sort of showing the fruit. And I'm glad that Sanchez has gone. I wish Eric Dyer had gone, because that's the old guard. I want to see the old guard gone. And in the same way, I think what we're talking about, Paratici, okay, as a consultant, fine. But again, the new director of football, Scott Munn, is now working for us. He's got to bring in who he feels is the guide. It's a new thing again. It's the whole clean sheet. Starting from fresh. I just really amazed. Well, not amazed, but just really pleased that we've started so well as we have. But yeah, the future's bright. Hopefully, I'll be still young enough to enjoy it when it happens. But
you have no doubt about that, Brad.
Speaking of
I got told on Friday by my manager that I'm I don't look 63, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Speaking of young, Brad, when was the last time that Spurs, I don't want to switch gears too much, but a 16-year-old, I mean, do you recall ever Spurs signing somebody that young before?
No, I mean, Hoddle was, 17, wasn't he, when he came through the youth ranks. As for signing a player, it wasn't Vostok or Bostock, wasn't he 16 when we signed him?
Yeah, from Palace.
Yeah, I think he was about it, and he basically didn't do anything. I've seen the one clip that I think everyone's seen of this Vuskovic or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He looks a big unit for 16.
Yeah.
So I think someone in the chat, I think someone in the chat mentioned it that hopefully we've got like the next Guardiola coming through.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that we've got to basically put to the back of our minds because from all intents and purposes, he's staying there until he's 18. But we did that with the Udogi. That worked out well. We did it with Papasar. That worked out well. So I think it's very, very promising. It's interesting talking about the fans forum. I just had a thought about that. Yeah, I think it's going to be sanitized. They're not going to. They know, the people that are applying for it. And I've got an email from Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. I'm very surprised. It's next week, isn't it? The 19th.
Yeah, the 19th. Yeah, I got the date wrong at the start. I had 12th down. I don't know why I wrote down the 12th, but you're right. It's the 19th.
But it's I think the deadline on Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust is tomorrow if you want to try and get a ticket for it. I just had a thought. You're not going to get a situation where they're not going to, certainly if they do a Spurs play, this is what happened at the meeting. Anything controversial comes up, puts Daniel Levy looking in a bad light or under pressure. They're not going to show that, obviously.
Yeah.
If Daniel Levy was brave, all they could do, what they should do is we should organise a fan forum, just like IrishHotspur or any one of these YouTube people should have a fans forum. Agree before to keep it civil and no sort of but come up with stuff that people come up with and say, and because that way you haven't got Daniel Levy sitting there, and then you play that and then you send that to the club and you say, look, this is what the fans, because this people that go to these things. One, they're going to be, I could go there and think, right, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this. When it gets down to it and you're there and it's like, you think, oh, hang on a minute. And the other thing about this fan forum is that, okay, we all love Ange Postecoglou. I would be very, very wary of asking Daniel Levy a really sort of nasty question with Ange Postecoglou being there, because I don't want to, I don't want to sort of not insult him, but I don't want to put him at unease because of the job he's doing. Or it might be even disrespectful to sort of come up with something, with the job he's doing at the moment. So if you did it as an hour thing, like you guys or anyone of these things, decided to keep it civil, no swearing, no nothing like that, and so this is what we want to have, and then send that to the club. So there you go, and then they can see what the fans really think, because it's whether that'll work or not, I don't know, but it's just an alternative way of doing it.
No, look, I hear what you're saying. I think the plan is to sort of have a representative from all the sort of different groups, and that plan is to put someone forward that is well able to communicate and stuff like that, on their behalf and stuff. Look, how much sort of different groups and that will you have represented will be interesting to see, whether they have, people that don't like, will they have Levy out represented there and stuff like that?
Well, that's the thing,
will they have other groups represented there? I think the trust be represented, so they'll probably be able to ask about the ticket prices and stuff like that. But look, it'd be interesting to see sort of what comes out of it, Brad.
That as well as I do, there are a lot of people on YouTube that all right, if you class them as Levy out, but are very, very eloquent in how they talk about things. I've seen some really good people talk about that, about this sort of stuff. So, it'd be interesting to see who they do have there and what comes out of it. But I guess it's better than nothing, to be honest.
Look, it's a stepping stone, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah,
hopefully it's something that can be used for the benefit of, the fans going forward, where maybe it can be, open up a bit more dialogue.
Yeah, because for all we know, Daniel Levy might be sitting there thinking he's doing a great job. He might think, it's going swimmingly. He might. I mean, I'm sure he is aware of the criticism. He must be.
I'd like to think maybe we've got a bigger problem.
Yeah, maybe he's just sitting there. Yeah, maybe he's, it's, oh, really? That's a surprise. But yeah, and then you say, well, okay, if you think you're doing a good job, you define why you think you're doing a good job. You tell us why you think you're doing that good job. We can tell him, well, we think that, I mean, my biggest gripe with Levy and Enoch is that they don't go the extra mile to get these players. The extra. I'm not saying we should be spending £100 million on Ewan Ferguson, for example, although saying that's what you might be worth. But it's when you get to we'll give you £5 million less. When it gets to the thing that will make it up in food and drink sales in 2 or 3 games. That's my big gripe. And I would like to put that, if I had one question only, that's what I'd like to ask Daniel Levy and Enoch. So, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, look, it is. And it'd be interesting to see whether, there's a sort of memo that goes out beforehand, what you can and can't ask. It'd be interesting to see all these things. But look, we'll wait and see, Brad. Yeah. We'll wait and see. But look, thank you for your time this evening, my man.
No
I really
problems,
appreciate it. Everyone.
Thanks for getting us started.
Like we've done before. Get over to Blue Sofa Songs, listen to Brad's music, smash the subscribe button on it. The music is a reflection of Brad's life. So if you want to know what Brad sort of has how his life has been, just listen to the music.
Yeah,
maybe you don't,
but that's it. And please subscribe. I've actually lost subscribers in the last few weeks, which is a bit weird.
Because you're not doing the one song every week now, Brad.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, that is a difficult problem. And the irony is that I think my songs, one song a month, the irony being that I think the songs have actually not been as good as the ones when I put them out every week or every 2 weeks. So whether that's pressure bringing out better.
Brad? It's because you're happier now. You're not as in tune with your thoughts.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But it's weird because it's still like, even if I've got 4 weeks to write a song, it'll still be in the last week that the song will come together. That's how it works. But at least I can say I'm a songwriter and a musician. Maybe not a good one, but at least I can say that. I'm more of a songwriter and a musician than I am a footballer, put it that way.
You can say you're following your dream, Brad, and that's the main thing, my man.
Exactly.
But big yourself up, my man, and we'll speak again soon, Brad. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoyed that.
Yes, guys. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, Big Ange.
Have a good night.
You too,
Come on, you Spurs, and the Big Ange. Have a good night,
Brad. Really enjoyed that conversation with Brad. Absolutely, really enjoyed it. It flew through all the topics. Really enjoyed that. Big up, Brad. People do get over and check out Blue Sofa Songs. Right, Jacko, where are we steering? What direction are we going in next?
Where are we going next to, everybody? Let's take us over to the land of Ribsy. See what he has to say.
We're going down under. So we are going down under to see how Ribsy is. Ribsy, how are you, my man?
Can you hear us, Ribsy? Oh, you might be on mute.
Sorry, the stream just hitched up there for a minute, so sorry about that. How are you?
Yeah,
doing okay, Ribsy. And how are you? What's been on your mind since last time we saw you? What have you come on to talk about? Is it Ange ball withdrawals that you want to discuss, or is it the coming future of itches? There's plenty to get stuck into.
Yeah, any of the above, man. I'm just happy. I'm just like all Spurs fans at the moment. I'm happy to see us play some football, get some wins. I mean, what was it? A couple of seasons back, we were top of the league in December, but it never really felt like we were top of the league. I mean, we were getting the points, but we weren't. No one was like, this is going to last, But and I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to win the league because that's just nonsense still at this point. But we're doing very well, and the start has been. I don't know whether you remember, but I was expecting there to be a bit of a rocky start with Ange. But no, it's been brilliant. I think that the players have been super professional, and they've done a good job at keeping out the guys who just aren't willing or able to play that type of football, right? So, I just think they've done a brilliant job so far, and I hope it keeps up. It's just a matter of keeping the injuries away, I guess.
Do you know what, on that though, Ribsy, you say, the players ahead of these players deserve credit, but does Ange Postecoglou also deserve credit, right? He could have brought Dyer back into the fold after Sanchez being sold. He could have kept Sanchez in the fold and not sanctioned, the club selling what maybe some would deem as you know, an experienced centre back. For me, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're shit, you're shit. But you know, sort of how much credit does Ange need though? Because when you look at it, Ribsy, he's changed the whole leadership group, right, from last year.
Yeah.
He's ripped it out, and even in Dyer and Reese's case, he's refusing to integrate them.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, Ange talks about not the players not just doing what he wants them to do or to make the decision in the moment to do what they think that Ange wants them to do. He wants them to do it automatically. And that means having players in the team that have that sort of instant decision making and that ability to sort of just, you know, and also then the legs to be fast enough to sort of, you know, to sprint across the field and do what they've decided to do. So having guys like Van de Ven who basically teleport across the field, I mean, that's exactly the kind of guy you want, you know. So I can't imagine Dyer trying to do what Van de Ven does, even if for whatever reason you think, and I don't believe this, but if you think that Dyer is a better defender, he's just not fast enough to get where he needs to go, and that's always been the case.
Yeah.
In the case of, you know, kind of the players that you, like you said, are sort of kind of keeping a lot of the other guys out of the team, do you think there's been all of a sudden a new sort of kind of culture around the squad, or kind of a new sort of dynamic and vibe around the team that you didn't expect to change this quickly too?
Yeah, well, it's almost like a personal responsibility thing, right? Instead of telling them what you can eat and you know, and treating them like they're a bunch of kids on school camp or something, you know, they're teaching them, you know, basically it's your responsibility. This aspect of the game and the team is your responsibility. And if we drop points or we make bad decisions or whatever, then you know, he doesn't want guys who sort of throw their hands up and go, oh, well, you know, we came at this tactically wrong, or the other guy, you know, 10 minutes ago made a mistake that led to this. It's just, no, what can you do in every moment to put as much impact on the game as you can, and it's your responsibility to continue to do that, and we don't stop until, you know, the final whistle. And if the other team stops, brilliant, you know, like, I mean, you've all heard the speech, right? So that's the enjoy your
when you get
speech,
the Australian
right?
national team, honestly, lad, it gives me goosebumps. Absolutely.
Isn't it kind of a surprise to you, Ribsy, I don't know if it's a surprise, but right, last season, all the main figureheads, the leadership group, were consistent of Kane, Lloris, Dyer, Davies, Højbjerg. That's all just been destroyed now, like just completely wiped, gone. Now it's like Basuma, Madison, Sonny, Romero, or sort of kind of like the, you know, the cool kids in, you know, the lunchroom, or the cool kids, you know, in the locker room now. What do you kind of make of Ange sort of also doing that, right? I think that's been his biggest strength, or his master stroke in all of this, is doing that.
Not to put too fine a point on it, I mean, despite what you think of all those players, I mean, they lost, they failed. You know, they were the leaders, and they were as much responsible for the outcomes of those games as, you know, Conte and Stellini and Mason. And they didn't get it to work. So despite the fact that a lot of those guys are probably very capable footballers, and we know for a fact that the majority of them are very capable footballers, they just, for whatever reason, it didn't work. Whether they didn't have the clout with the rest of the squad, maybe guys like Basuma and that probably just didn't, you know, as you were saying, those are the cool kids. They don't really associate with the high professional, you know, football nerds. So maybe they were just like, there was a divide there. And by putting these guys in charge, the vibes are better, right? So and everyone else is just sort of follow the leader, which is great.
I think when you look at it, I think, look, you know, that they're as responsible as the likes of Dyer and Davies and that for maybe things going a bit west. But what I would say is, you know, I've always spoke about when you've got players that are failing to execute the basics, everyone else suffers as a result of it, right? You know, you've got Romero passing it to Dyer, but if Dyer's trying to progress out from the back and it ends up in the stands, you know, it makes everyone else look bad. You know, if you got Hugo Lloris, for instance, you're giving it back to him to relieve a bit of pressure so you can maneuver into a different position to receive it and unleash the pressure, and Hugo Lloris panicked and just pumped it long straight back to the centre-back or the goalkeeper. That's on Hugo Lloris, and as a result of it, then you start asking questions of Romero and Sonny, because basically Dyer and Lloris and that have turned it into a game that suits them. Keep the ball, just keep pumping it back long, keep it further away from us as we can. Where you got Romero and Sonny who want the ball, they want to play, but the players that they're asking to play with are nowhere near on the level and don't have the football and brain to execute it. That's where I think the difference is. And since they've come out of the team and you've seen others step in that are on their wavelength, that are on their level, look at the benefits of it on the football pitch. You
can't have the leaders be consistently hypocrites of what the coach is trying to instill and coach. I think that's what kind of sort of went wrong with having Dyer and Lloris and these other guys sort of as leaders, is they ended up kind of just serving as hypocrites more often than they really served as actual leaders by example. And so when they were throwing their arms up in the air, when after making big mistakes and things like that, you sort of thought like, well, a leader shouldn't be doing that. And also you're the one who made the mistakes. Like, how on earth are you throwing your hands up? These aren't things that you would see, I think, from Sonny or from Romero or from, the rest of the guys in the team. And that's where I think there's going to be a huge change. And as much as, we're past the night on Fulham, but that's where I sort of thought, I think Ange might even learned with making Ben Davies captain in that game against Fulham, because what the biggest problem on the evening was passing sideways and everybody not taking any sort of onus in the game to actually try anything or risk anything. Ben Davies was the biggest hypocrite and the biggest culprit of that. So how could you really have him as captain telling others what to do and, telling, him or, communicating what Anne just said, if he's the biggest, culprit of it, right? So he's done a masterstroke in getting Sonny and all these guys who can not only be leaders and sort of what they're saying, but they're not like hypocrites in it either. They're going to be the best examples of what Ange is trying to teach too.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those tight games, they can turn on one 50-50 ball, and if your players aren't going in for 50-50 balls and putting the body on the line a bit for, a tight game and for the team, then that can't be a leader. It's got to be someone who's just, who's willing to sort of risk it for the biscuit, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ribsy, I just wanted to... Oh, where's that question gone, Jacko?
Which question? Oh, sorry, I took it off.
Matthew Rose. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Here it is. Here it is. Just about Richie. I mean, what does Ange Postecoglou do? Because this is a situation that it's spiraling, right? It's for club and country. The guy wouldn't hit a barn door right now. It's sort of like, how does Ange handle this? Because, I'd say there's a massive part of him that wants to keep putting Richie out there until he sort of, comes good, because I think a lot of people like the guy. However, he does have a decision to make. We can't keep doing this sentimental stuff where it's cost us over the last 3 to 4 years, where we've persisted with the likes of Dyer and Sanchez and people like that because they were a resemblant of the old regime, but not necessarily a main part of that regime. And we've continued it through sentiment, expecting them to continue on. It didn't work, and it's come to the club deficit. Now they're gone. We're seeing the benefits of it. So what do we do with the Richie situation? Because it was only last season we laid out 60 million money on a massive sort of situation. We need to handle it in a way that it doesn't end up in the end on Bele's situation, the same way where we paid a lot of money and that there's no use from now. We're just loaning them out because we can't sell them. What does Ange do?
Well, I think it's slightly different to like the Sanchez and Dyer situation over the last couple of seasons, because despite us all thinking those guys aren't good enough, they still were the best centre-backs we had in our squad at the time, despite their shortcomings. Whereas it's clear that Richarlison is not the best number 9 that we have in the squad. And the guy who is the best number 9 isn't even a number 9. So it's concerning because, you can't just keep playing someone in such a vital position who's not performing, but also, that there's a perfectly good footballer in there and there's something mentally blocking him. So I think that he needs to keep coming on. I'm not sure he needs to start, but I think that the trick is that when the legs get tired on the defenders on the other team, you bring him on and see if he can start putting some away in the later game. And maybe that's the trick. I think it might be one of those situations once he scores a couple, he's just going to go, oh, this is easy again, and he'll just dig his way out of it. But also sometimes, you got that player that's the big fish in the small pond, and then you bring him over into, Spurs, which, we're a bigger team than Everton. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. No. you put him in, and he's playing with Harry Kane, and he plays fairly well because he's always got that mental backup where he's like, well, there's always Kane's going to be there to do the job if I'm not performing. And then suddenly that safety net's gone, and he's got to do it, and he's the man, and he's wearing the number 9, which, let's face it, is slightly cursed for Tottenham as well. So, it's just suddenly a lot of weight. People singing songs for him and painting murals in Perth, and it's a big moment, and you got to either rise above it or not. And I don't have the answer. I wish I did. I think he's got to be given some football, because if he can turn it around, then that's brilliant. We'd love to have him. He still presses really effectively, and there's a lot of things he does that's quite good. And there's been situations like, when Romero had that Brentford, and Romero had that concussion, and then he scored. Richarlison was right next to him there, and he would have scored with his foot if Romero hadn't have got to that header.
It could have gone off his eyeball, and it would have gone into the net. Yeah, I was just asking for somebody to put something on it. No, you are right.
Exactly. So I think that there's been situations where he's been sort of unlucky not to be the one who gets to finish the tap in, and not that wasn't a good goal. Romero did the right thing. You don't just leave it, but I think that there could have been situations where if we played them over again, Richarlison gets a goal or two, and then maybe the confidence is different. But he needs to not get frustrated at the team, right? He needs to not be like, "Don't take me off. I still want to play, coach," because it's like, you just got to trust it, man. You're not performing, so you do what you get, and then then when the coach says come off, you just come off. Like the sooking on the field thing it's not a good sign.
What do you make of that? Do you think that's a distraction to the rest of the players? Do you think it's? Like,
I understand the frustration.
Do you think they're like, oh, it's just Richie, or do they think they get a little bit annoyed? Do you think?
I think he's just an emotional guy. I think every now and then you get that sort of player that sort of is a bit of a. You see him talk in interviews and stuff, and he's got a very soft voice, and he's a little bit of an introvert compared to, say, Emerson Royale, who is the textbook extrovert, right?
Music video on his girlfriend.
God, that guy's a classic. I'm so glad we got him. We went through half a season or a season of just him being pretty bad, and then and now he's tons of fun. So I want to keep him around. But Richarlison is
making a good point. Yeah,
opposite sort of dude, and he I think that putting him in videos and stuff for Spurs is a bad idea. I think they need to just let the football speak for itself. Don't put him in fucking cooking shows and shit. Like, just leave him alone and let him focus on the football for a bit. And I think he'll come right. I think, but if he doesn't, we won't get 60 million for him. But he's still a perfectly serviceable player. I mean, someone will pick him up for sure.
Do you feel like last question? In general, going into then the North London derby and going into Sheffield United. Do you play the nice guy and play Richie and start him in Sheffield United, or do you just sort of, just think about what's best for the team and just sort of what's best for trying to go into the North London derby is, confident and as strong as possible? Because just quickly, I do have a feeling like, do you maybe just want to try to start with the strongest lineup you can against Sheffield, knowing that, you have the North London derby around the corner? You want to have that sort of confidence, like, in what team actually works the most or is working.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go into that off a big win, wouldn't it? That'd probably be the best way to do it. Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't start Richarlison. But if we blow that out, I'd bring him on. I'm not sure whether that's. I don't know. It's a tough one because it'd be hard to start anything other than what we did against Burnley, because it was just such a brilliant result. So
yeah,
I'd just start with that and then just switch early if we start to get ahead.
Yeah. I think for right now, you just take Richie out of the firing line, just go with Sonny, go with what's been working in the most recent game. And if we continue to score goals aplenty, you just kind of have to accept it, until that stops. That's when you're going to get back into the team probably. And that's just sort of how, football can work sometimes for a player. Any kind of final points, Ribsy, before I let you go?
No, just I'm really happy with how it's all going. It's nice to not have a bunch of grievances to come on here and gripe about. It's just nice to
You don't miss
have a football team that's no, well, I mean that feels good. There's a sort of cathartic aspect of that just wins, just shouting into the void when your team's playing that crap. But no, we're playing good. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it does feel brilliant. Ribsy, thanks for helping us out. Thanks for coming on, and look forward to seeing you next time. And hopefully the Ange ball withdrawal is not going on for too much longer. We're on the other side of it, right? It's sooner. It's we're closer to it than it is further away. The Ange ball.
That's right, man. That's right. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, see you, Ribsy. Have a good night, or have a good day. Have a good rest of your day. See ya.
That's it.
All right, everybody. Big up to Ribsy. Please big him up in the comments there. I think Dave is just rebooting the computer. He'll be back here in just a second. Let's keep this rolling, though. Let's go on to the next guest of this evening, and we're going to go on to the young Dan Davenport. Let's see what he has to say. Hey, Dan, how are you? What do you have on your mind this evening?
I've got mine on this evening. I haven't been bothering with the international football. I don't follow it that much nowadays. It doesn't excite me as much as it used to.
No, and everybody, Dan, is complaining about Southgate ball versus Ange ball. They find the Ange ball is so much better than the Southgate ball.
Yeah, I agree.
James Maddison was called up though by Mr. Gareth Southgate, but he played him out on the left. Do you think that's not where you should play Maddison? What do you think, Maddison? Where should he be playing? More in the middle? Do you think in midfield?
I didn't see the England football game. I was watching the rugby instead.
Dave, I think had a fantastic time out in the rugby. Hopefully, he comes in just a second and has a good story for us. If any player, Dan, were to make the transition over to rugby, who would it be in our team? Do you think Romero could make the transition over?
I don't know.
I think Romero could make probably a decent transition over. He's got the bite. He's got the, the nastiness to him. He, enjoys, the physical contact. I could see him making that transition. We brought in a young 16-year-old defender in Vuskovic. Dan, do you remember the last time? It looks like Alfie Devine was the last time we signed a 16-year-old, is what people are saying. Are you excited? A 16-year-old signing?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'll be a star of the future for sure.
Do you feel like he could end up being the next big Luka for us? He's another Luka.
Who knows?
Definitely. And do you have any questions for me this evening? Do you have any questions for the Harris Army this evening?
It's 22 days when the World Trade Center collapsed in New York.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a day that we have to, as Americans, always have to remember, and it's always special to be here for it. But I think we want to sort of keep on, at least some of the positive things, Dan. But I do appreciate you trying to remember that. That's very kind of you.
I have foster family in California, so yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. And I think when it comes to Spurs, though, Dan, do you feel like this coming Saturday, Sonny, do you want to see him up at striker once again?
I think he's just lacking confidence, and once he starts scoring, then he'll be up and running.
I feel like with Sonny, Dan, I kind of want to see him.
I mean, with Richarlison,
Yeah, you think he needs the confidence?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like people were maybe already giving up on him pretty quickly. Do you think people have given up on him too quickly?
I think he's just lacking in confidence with Carlson. Once he starts scoring goals, then he'll be up and running.
Nice. Yeah, I think he will get up and running. And also, Dan, I'm going on these runs around Prospect Park here in Brooklyn almost every day so that I can turn his luck around. I'm trying my best to fight for the guy. And I feel like he's somebody that just needs an arm around him. He needs an arm around him from us, the fans, and also from Big Ange.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions you have for the Harris Army this evening?
No, not really.
Okay, Dan. Well, last question then from me to you is, what do you think the North London Derby is going to go like? Are we going to finally be able to win over against the Woolwich? Or are we finally going to take them on? Are we going to upset the Lego Man?
I think it'll be difficult.
It will be difficult. How could we beat them? What would be a trick? What would be a tip that you would give, the team or give Ange?
He gives a mistake in Arsenal's defense, but
Spot on.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on there, Dan. I think that's what I would do as well. Well, thanks for coming on, my friend. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Dan, bye. Have a good one. Big up to Dan, everybody. Hopefully he's keeping well this evening. Please, as well, big him up in the comments. He's always waiting patiently to come on and have his say. But we're going to keep this fan show rolling here, everybody. We're going to go on to the next guest. We're going to go on to Jerome and see what he has to say. And then it's going to be Michael, followed by Tyler, and then the one and only Mark New. We're going to see the return of Mark New. Let's see what Jerome has to say. Hey there, Jerome.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. And, you know, I see a comment that you just put in the private chat. We were talking about Richarlison earlier. Do you want to start there? Do you feel like he's
look, the way he's going, it feels like he's becoming the new Soldado. He's like having his breakdowns and everything. It's like, doesn't feel like he's not in the right place for the moment. And to me, it's like, just play your football. Just don't put so much pressure on you. It's like, looks like he's trying his best to replace Harry Kane as much as he can, but come on, man, you'll never be Harry Kane. Just play your football, know what you need to do, and you'll be fine. And to be honest, Richie, I think he's got potential. Like the last game, not the Bournemouth one, but the one before. No, actually, the Bournemouth game. Yeah, he was in a good position. He almost scored, but the keeper made a really good save. But he can find himself in a really good spot. So he just needs to find the confidence and start playing his football again and just forget about everything. Stop putting so much pressure on him. Yeah. And then he'll be fine. I don't understand what's all the pressure he's trying to put on himself.
Majority of the pressure seems to be coming from him, right? Not even like I feel like there's the price tag, there's the media. But I said in my little Richie piece that ultimately it feels like the majority pressure is just coming from him on himself, and that's what he can change. He can't change what the media say about him. He can't change the price tag. That's all, sort of, it's out of your control. But what he can change is technically how much pressure he puts on himself.
Definitely.
I was going to say, I agree with that. I think, the weight of expectation he puts on himself is definitely sort of playing on his mind and stuff. And that's why you're seeing the emotional element of it, right? Of him sort of crying and stuff like that, which, look, I like personally. It shows that the guy cares. I think the biggest question, though, is the quality there? Because, we could talk about the mental state, this, that, and the other, but is that quality there to deliver on the regular for Tottenham up front?
Look, to be honest, I think the quality is there. It's just like he's definitely lacking confidence. Something is not right with him somewhere. It's like the last time he was through on goal. He just could make it pass and he would have an assist already, but he just fumbled it completely. You could see it's a player that's like completely devoid of confidence right now. But he's got the potential. The way he played for Everton, he literally kept them on top. He played really well for them. And he can play well for us. I'm convinced he can play well for us. He just have to stop putting so much pressure on himself. And I do feel that, he has put Harry Kane as a net for him. It's like, if I don't do well, Harry is there to push up back again. But now Harry's not here. It's like, oh, crap, everything is on me now. I'm the man. You don't have to be the man. Just be part of the team. Just play your football and you'll be fine. That's all he needs to do. It's like everybody's on his back right now saying, it's not good enough, not good enough. Come on.
Do you know what, Jerome?
Need to hold. Yeah.
The biggest thing I'd say to Richarlison is, football can change in a week. All it takes is for him to score in 2 games back to back, and it can all change. It's sort of like, look, we'll have to wait and see what happens. For me, I think, he's got this year to sort of bring, even if it goes on for a long time and towards the end of the season, he starts to show that maybe he's coming out of it. But he has to show it this year. If not, I think he might find himself sort of shipped on very, very quickly. But, all I would say to someone like Richarlison is football can change like that. So,
definitely.
Yeah.
There's a meeting upcoming between the fans and the board, or between the fans and Daniel Levy and Ange and, the players. Why hasn't this happened before? Why has it taken so long for it to happen again, Jerome? Also, what would you ask Daniel Levy if you were in that room? or Ange or Sonny if you wanted to, if you were to ask them something.
Look, to me, it's just another PR thing. It's like whatever
You don't
doozy
really care.
questions. Well, yeah, it's just going to be all nice questions we're going to ask the guys, like all the hype stuff that we're going to be asking. So, you're just going to be like putting everybody on a high pedestal. It's just going to be PR stuff. Like all the doozy questions, I'm pretty sure we won't get through. Like, nah, none of that's going to happen. It's all going to be nice and everybody's going to be very happy and all clappy, like, happy clappers.
I was about to ask you this. Am I being a bit happy clapping then by suggesting this is, in a way, all still a good step in the right direction? When Dave, sort of brought it up, I was like, well, it's good to see it back. And it's nice that we are doing this once again. Maybe it will be completely sanitized, like Brad said, but I still think no matter what, we're still getting it, which is a good thing. Yeah.
Look, in a way, it's okay. We're doing the right thing to be talking to everybody. So it's okay. But I don't think we'll be taking the hot questions in unless Ange say, hey, a bit boring. Give me something.
There won't be any huge breakthroughs. Yeah, there won't be any huge there won't be any bombshells or anything from it.
I don't think there will be any bombshells or anything.
So you think it's more just a public relations sort of pointless exercise on the club's behalf, and the fans won't actually get anything out of it whatsoever?
No, I don't think they get anything out of it. Look, it's just like, it's just that some PR nonsense we're trying to do, like especially with ticket pricing increasing. Be sure we're trying to appease the fan and just saying all the good things we are doing. Like, we are looking for players for the future. We just bought like a 16-year-old who's like a unit, a big centre back. I mean, it might be, the next Guardiola or something like that. So, they're all going to be all of those good things we're going to be talking about, like what Daniel Levy's done for Tottenham and all those things.
So here, I'm going to put a scenario to you. For me, I think it's one that the club could easily accept. One that I think many fans would want to hear on. So, for instance, right, the Sports Trust has organised their second protest against ticket hikes at the home game. They're also going to be represented at this fan forum meeting. I would say, and I'll be very shocked if the Supporters Trust don't put a question towards, can you sort of legitimize why you've put the price hikes forward? And I think the club would be silly not to prepare or sort of, think that sort of question is coming. Do you think they'd even be allowed to ask that, or do you think it'd be that heavily sanitized that you might not even hear a question? I think that's a pretty acceptable question to be asked and want to be answered.
That's a pretty acceptable question. That's all like all financials and all. Like, I'm pretty sure Daniel will already be prepared for this, and he will give us all of the reason why the price hikes and everything. But still, to me, they shouldn't be doing this. That's just not right, especially in this condition. But everybody is being under and pressure being under. Come on, like, you're getting 62,000 people coming almost every single week. Come to the stadium every single game. I mean, come on, you're making money. Like, it's not like you're not making money. It's like you got fans all over the world buying your kits, buying things like from you. Like, you're not saying you're not making money. And to increase the price in this hard time right now, it's just not right. We should not have done this. But it's just business as it is. But again, for a football club to be saying, we need to increase the price, and come on, it's just like the last time with COVID when they said we had to I forgot what it was, but we needed to do something. It's like, we had to go to the bank and say, like, we were struggling.
Was it the furlough and the staff that ended up having to reverse it because of the pressure put on them?
Exactly. So it was doing things like that. So it's just us be doing some nonsense like this. But again, the price increase is just, it's not the right time for this. But
I think part of it too just has to do with the fact that Spurs haven't really shown that they're, until now, under Ange, but this wasn't, now we have a bit of context or a bit of hindsight, but I mean, Spurs weren't exactly headed in the right direction. Spurs, have been kind of headed a bit backwards recently until Ange has come through and everything. So for them to also then, raise the prices, basically what's built off of what wasn't a great last season, where the club hasn't succeeded and hasn't in any way sort of warranted sort of any sort of, kind of extra bit of bonus to themselves. You sort of think that's another kind of thing that makes it look bad. Where if let's say we had a terrific season under Antonio Conte, while fans inevitably would be upset that the season ticket prices are raised because they're already at the highest pretty much anyway. There might have been less outrage had, we won a trophy, or had, there been, signs of progression, or at least, there wouldn't be as much united outrage about it, because maybe fans would just feel like, well, the team was pretty good last year. So
and we don't have Champions League this year. We don't have any major competition apart from the FA Cup. So come on, like really increasing the price really right now, it doesn't look right to me. And it's like, only Spurs would be things like that. But anyway, it's like, it is what it is. But the question needs to be asked, and I'm sure they will ask it, but they'll definitely come prepared with with some answers with it. So definitely can be
What would you make?
No,
go ahead, Dave.
One Jacko. No, go ahead.
I was going to transition us towards kind of the games ahead. Do you feel like Sonny is the guy that you're just going to persist with for the next 2 games? Jerome, would you throw Richarlison in? Where do you sit with the striker?
Until Richie sort out what's going on with him, like mentally, first of all, I don't think he should be anywhere close to the pitch. Like, for the moment, I don't think he's in the right he's not in the right mindset to be anywhere near the pitch right now. He needs to, go somewhere, find himself and come back, but he can't be next to the pitch. Or if it persists with him, because look, everybody is very confident with him. Like, Ange is happy with him. The Brazilian coach is happy with him. So it's definitely something with him right now. But to start, I wouldn't start him. Like, Sonny can start. Definitely Sonny will start against Sheffield. And he needs to start against Arsenal. That's for sure. He definitely needs to start. But for example, if we're winning the game like 3-0 or something against Sheffield, I would say, you can bring Richie in and just let him play, let him do his football again, find himself, and let him maybe try to score. But we'll see. But he definitely can't start. He's not in the right mind to start any of his big games.
Just quickly, last question, maybe a quick follow up on that. Would you start Brennan Johnson?
Look, we'll give him a start as well. I'm still not convinced about him, but it's like I watched the Wales game and he was just like not there. It was really non-existent there against South Korea. So I don't know. But look, the thing is, the Forest fans gave like a really big praise of him, and they're saying like he's this massive player at the loss. So you never know. It might be something. He might be a different beast, like when playing in the league, when he plays for Wales. But we'll see. But he can. I think he's definitely going to have a start for this game. But again,
it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see whether Postecoglou decides to go with Johnson down the right and move Kulu to the left, or and stick with Sonny down the middle. It'd be very, very interesting, Jerome, for sure, my man, for sure. We'll wait and see what happens. But Jerome, big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate your time. It's this morning for you, so I really appreciate your time, my man. And look, you probably got work ahead of you, I suppose.
I got work in about an hour to go, like, anyway. So
thanks for waking up early.
No. It's good to wake up early. It's good to wake up and come on the show and not being angry and not getting like upset with Spurs or anything. It's like it feels great to go. It's like to be waiting for this weekend to come. It's like finally gonna have to see my football.
You know what? I've even forgotten about the angry side of Jerome, because
it's been a while.
We haven't seen him in a long time. We haven't seen him in a long time.
He used to come on, deliver us some home truths, and then go again. And now it's great to see a smile on your face, Jerome. I really appreciate it, my man. And hopefully you have a really good day ahead of you. Hopefully it's a great day for you.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Have a good one. Bye. Thank you very much, my man. Thank you very much. What a call in from Jerome. Really enjoyed that. It's great to see the happy side of Jerome. Great to see it. Great to see it. And he's definitely still backing Richie, which is great to see. Absolutely great to see.
When Dan Davenport was on earlier, Dave, he did, have a question to you about the rugby. How did it go for you? Just quickly, did Did the Aviva, was it as great as it usually is? Was the atmosphere fun? Just tell us maybe just a little quick minute on how the Aviva was. He was asking, Dan Davenport.
Oh, that's the Rugby World Cup. No, that's in France. That was in Paris. Yeah, we absolutely obliterated Romania in the rugby. I think it was 83 or 86-8 or something like that. We absolutely, or was it 82-8? We absolutely obliterated them. Being honest, could have put 100 on the board, bar a couple of knock-ons here and there and a few little mistakes. But yeah, we're primed and ready for this World Cup. So keep your focus on the Ireland rugby team. And that's what I'd say to you, my man. Big yourself up, brother. But look, let's keep it moving, Jacko. Who are we speaking to next?
Yeah, who are we going to next? We're going to Michael, Dave, from Aussie land, now over to Poland.
And now he's got I think he said he's got something special, here to unveil on stream. So let's see what it is. But big up, Michael. How are you, my man?
What's up, boys? I hope you can hear me well. So the first surprise is this little guy.
Oh, where did you get that?
My girlfriend found it somewhere on the internet. Actually, she bought it, right? There is like the chirpy, and it's not from the club shop, by the way.
Wow.
But she found it somewhere on the internet. It was like that cheap. I don't know, like
that's awesome.
£5 or £7 or something like that. So I have this little guy sitting with me now.
Unreal.
Is she jealous of the cuddles you're giving it instead of her?
No. We have a deal. She always comes first, right? But the second surprise is actually I want to claim myself I want to claim the title of a prophet because I have a kit of Hajduk Split.
With me. Jack will be all over that.
Yeah. And actually, I never expected us to sign a player from Hajduk Split. So yeah, that's my second.
Does it have the name on the back?
No, it doesn't. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know anything about the kit that we signed, but it's a kind of ironic that because it's the only second real football kit that I have. Right, I have one of Spurs, and this is the second one because I was visiting Split with my parents. We were there on vacation.
Wow.
And I bought myself this kit, right? And actually, we signed, a youngster from that club, which is really
that's mad,
surprising, right? Yeah,
that's mad.
What does it feel like to? Yeah, sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
I was just going to say quickly, get the details of where you got Chippy off the missus. I need it.
Of course. I will send you the details on WhatsApp, right? But actually, also one ironic thing is that it's literally the same pattern as Crystal Palace last season. I don't know if you noticed. It's literally the same producer, the same pattern, etc. Right? So it was really, stood out for me that they had that type of kit, right?
Yeah, I like their kits. I like Hajduk Split's kits. I was going to ask you though, when do you feel like, the last time we've even signed a 16-year-old was? I think they said it was Alfie Devine, and also too, Michael. I mean, last season I think Man City were the ones that were pretty much lined up to sign this kid. What does it feel like to sign what is supposedly the most talented 16-year-old, of his age group at center back? And we've, gone ahead all of the big clubs, the Real Madrids, the Man Cities of the world. It's like signing an Odegaard, right? Odegaard everybody knew about him at 15 years old. And then, whoever got him was whoever got him. It feels a bit similar with this kind of Vuskovic guy.
Yeah, I think we signed this kid from Chelsea. He has Sunsu Bell or something. I think he was 17, and it was last season, if I recall correctly, right? But yeah, it's a really good sign for me because we have to build our academy, right? But also one thing I want to add with the whole building academy, investing into youth, etc. Right? We have to realize that majority of those kids won't make it to our first team, right? Out of 10, probably maybe one, if we really have talented players. So out of 10, 1 or 2 will make it, right, to the first team. But what we can do with that is sell them on with massive profit, right? Look at what City are doing. City have an amazing academy. They produce talent left, right, and center, right? But they don't try to shoehorn every single kid into their first team. They are just selling them for mad money, right? I think they are selling kids from their academy for like £20 million, right?
They've made over 100 million over the last two summer transfer windows just selling youth academy products alone.
Yeah, and this Palmer kid, right, who went to Chelsea. I know it's Chelsea, so it's inflated like fourfold, right? But let's imagine if they sold him like to Southampton for 10 million or whatever, right? It's absolutely like great money to make. So I am really happy that we signed him, and me, same as Jack, we are like each enjoyers. So yeah, I am really happy if this kid is ever to make it to our like first team. I would be super happy. I think Croatians have this like something about them, like, you know, this grittiness, endurance, like, you know, they are so tight, like, you know, they are really like, you know, built different. Let's call it that way.
I've never seen a bad Croatian footballer, and what I mean by is like bad first touch, bad pass. It's always, you know, they're always very, very consistent at it.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad how such a small like country can produce so much talent, right? Because there is like only like what 4 million Croats on the
smaller in Ireland.
Yeah, they maximize it. They maximize it, sure.
Yeah, like they are 10 times smaller than Poland in terms of like you know, the amount of people living in the country, and they are 100 times better than my like absolutely. Let's not get me started on Poland this national breaks. Let's talk Spurs. Let's
be here all day talking international teams, Michael. Go on, Jacko. What did you want to ask, Michael?
Scott Munn is going to be taking charge soon, and everybody, or at least I do, I wouldn't speak for everybody, at least, you know, but a lot of people seem to have a fear that he could be signing a new director of football, right? And that would then mean maybe Perisic won't come back into his old role. What would you make of that, you know, him signing a new director of football, Scott Munn, if you were to choose to do that?
I think, like, even though I appreciate all the work that Paratici did, I think leaving ourselves without it, because like Paratici's ban is still like what 18 months or something like that, right? So leaving ourselves without a director of football for 18 further months, right? I think it wouldn't be beneficial for the club. So I think we need a director of football right now. And honestly, like depending on the, you know, the contract situation of that director, maybe we could arrange it so that like he only is that person that they appoint is only like a director of football for 1 year or 1.5 years. And then when their contract runs out, we hire Paratici back or something, right? But I think it will be beneficial for us to have someone who can actually like do their job, right? Because we know that Paratici basically can, like, you know, pull the strings, you know, whisper into ears, etc., right? He cannot do the job officially, right? So, and I think it would be beneficial to take the let's call it like take the power away from Daniel Levy and give it to someone who will actually like focus only on the footballing matters, right? Because Daniel Levy has like a whole host of other things on his head, right? I would prefer having a director of football in like focusing only on what we are doing right now, right?
Do you think though that Paratici, like the vision that he had though, with sort of, you know, he brought down the squad age, right, considerably. He shipped out a lot of players that were unneeded and did a better job, I think, of it when he was in charge than we did this last season. He also completely changed the academy, right, and made it look so much stronger than it used to be. I'm at least a little worried, Michael, that the next director of football, is he going to have all those sort of same ideas, and is he going to carry off of that work? Or is he going to do what sometimes certain people seem to do, which is sort of rip up all the previous work that the last guy did because of their own ego, or because, you know, they want to feel like it's their club and they're doing, you know, sort of things in their vision and their path. Like, will the director of football carry off of Paratici's work, or the next director of football just rip it up and sort of like do something different? That's what I'm a little worried about.
Yeah, it's always a huge risk when you make any changes, right? You always just basically flip a coin, and you know, whichever side it lands on, you have to live with it, right? But I think if they do their due diligence and recruit properly, right? They basically they have to scout those guys properly, right? And when they are talking with them, when they are like, you know, doing the whole like, you know, human resources stuff, you know, all the interviews, etc., right? I think they have to lay down the plan, right? They have to say, listen, this is what we started, this is where we want to go. can you do that, right? You don't want you to come here and restructure anything. We want you to continue with the plan that we are on currently, right? So for me, like, I know people, like, I don't want to say I'm on the fence with Levy, right? But I don't want to like criticize them always, but I also don't want to praise them always. I think there are things that they've done bad.
Yeah, look, I can understand that.
But I don't think they are like stupid, right? They won't appoint someone like out of thin air randomly. You know, it's not Poland where everyone is shaking everyone's hand and everyone is talking about money. Also, like, I'm sorry, but I'm really pissed with my like the whole footballing structure in Poland. I have to like shoehorn it in, right? But basically, I think if they do that due diligence, I think this appointment can be beneficial, right? But they have to like lay down the club's, philosophy, right? This is something that we actually talked about, like 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, when we talked that even if you have to fire someone, even if you have to appoint new manager, new director of football, new someone, right? You have to have a philosophy and follow the philosophy, right? So and I was talking about it even with Conte, right? When everything was going quite well with Conte, I said that, listen, he is like directing this club in a certain way. If we fire him, we should hire someone, unless you want to flip a coin, which was basically Ange's appointment, right? It was flipping a coin. But otherwise, I think like the next smartest thing to do would be to hire someone of a similar philosophy if you already started building the team for Conte, right? But Conte isn't there, so you have to hire someone who thinks similarly, right? So I think in the same manner, if we had Paratici and he kind of directed the club in one way, we now have to hire someone who will push us forward, right? Not just completely, spin the steering wheel and try to, do a 180 and go the other way, right?
That's going to be a very hard thing to do, though, Michael, because not two director of football's visions will very sort of rarely align. They might have the same sort of values or that in players, but visions and the way they do things and stuff will always be 100% different. So look, it'd be very interesting to see what the club sort of decide to do in that regard. Look, I would much rather they hold out. I get the 18 months, right? But you can still advise us how to continue this on. And then, we can get someone in and just say, look, your whole thing is just negotiate deals out of the club. Just get it done. We could definitely do something like that. But Michael, one thing I do want to ask you as well before we let you go this evening, brother, is a van advisory meeting coming up. Look, I think there's a bit of sort of debate on it. Some people think, look, it's a foot in the door, and hopefully can lead to maybe repairing that fractured relationship. Then you have Jerome, who, look, it's hard to disagree with, where it's sort of like, look, it's a pointless exercise. It's a PR spin, which I think as fans, we all sort of agree to that as well. But look, for me, I just want certain questions asked and answers to them questions. You as a fan, what would you like to hear asked to us, the club?
Yeah, like generally on the whole meeting itself, right? It has to be modernized in some way, right? They can't just allow, any questions, right? Because they have to control, the questions in some way. It won't be like, a free fire, thing, right? Because there are plenty of people, like I'm even on some other group chats on WhatsApp. There are plenty of hardcore Libby out people who also got an invitation, right? So imagine if they went there and they just started hammering Libby with really hardball questions, right? So I think what will happen is that the questions will be there will be a lot of soft ones, to repair the PR, whatever, right? But I think they will throw maybe 2 or 3 questions that will be look like harder ones, right? But they will have prepared statements. So one of them was, I think you said it, Dave, or maybe one of your guests, that the question about the ticket prices, right? I think this question will show up. Someone will ask about it, and they will have a prepared statement. Maybe there will be some discussion about it, right? But what I would like to hear is, and this is something that I think we never really got out of Daniel Levy or someone in charge, which is basically what their plan is, right? I want, I know maybe it's stupid, but I would love to hear them say we care about football, we want to win this, we want to do that, like, you know, to lay a plan in front of me, right? This is something I often talked about, right? That sometimes I felt like this club was really directionless, like we didn't really know like what we want to achieve. We all know that top 4 is really important for the club, right? But I would love to hear like Daniel Levy acknowledge us fans wanting a Carabao Cup, wanting an FA Cup.
So maybe it's not so much the plan then, Michael. It's more what's the end goal, right?
Because like of course like the end goal is winning the league every single year, right? But it will never happen, right? So I would love them to say, listen, we will invest in the youth. We will like try to build a team around our own academy, and for example, strive to try to win the league in 10 years or something, right? But it really gives me something to look forward to, right? It gives me, and it also gives me a reason to be patient, right? Well, because we are signing those kids, etc., right? But this would mean like them saying that would mean that I have something to look forward to, as I said, right? But
on that, Michael, do you know what? Me and Sean actually done a recording earlier, right? We done one for this channel, which, by the way, people, cheeky plug, go and watch it. Great conversation. But we also done one for his channel tomorrow. And I think he's going to upload it tomorrow, where he asked me the same thing. What do you want? And funny enough, it's the exact same thing as you. I'm like, right, you know, you've got one section of fans who maybe choose to understand what the board and can afford and the way they want to go about. And then you've got another section who, you know, saying, no, look, we've got plenty of money. Why can't we spend it on the real deal, right? So I think, you know, the one thing I did say to Shawnee that I want coming out of the exact same thing as you. What way are we approaching it? Like, what's the vision? Are we going after young, hungry talent? Are we going to start spending money, you know, and what's the end goal to it? So I'm the exact same as you, Michael, on that. I think that's one thing I definitely want clarified, because, you know, if they can say, look, this is how we're going to approach transfer markets, then we know what the idea is going into transfer markets, exactly what sort of, and then we can sit back and watch it unfold and criticize what the actual plan is rather than what we don't know.
Yeah, because it also gives like makes them accountable for their own like statements, right? So basically, if they come out and tell us, listen, this is our plan, we, like, for example, right, let's say they want to tell us that we are investing in youth, we are going to like sell them for profit or integrate them into the team, right? And they say that this is their plan, right? But then in 5 years, no youth player is integrated, they aren't selling players, etc., right? Then we can like point to that interview and say, listen, you told us 5 years ago that you are going to invest into the youth, sell them or for profit, you know, integrate them into the team. Where are the youngsters in the team, for example, right? That's needed, because that gives fans a leverage to criticize, but to also like point to what we want to achieve, right, as a fan base. I said, like, I would love it if they actually told us, listen, FA Cup is everything for us this season. Like, listen, we don't care about the position in the league, right? And like, we want to finish in Europe, but the FA Cup will give it our absolute best, right? I would fucking love it. I would love to hear something like that, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, and I think then, because look, we'll end it on this, Michael. But for me, I think over the last few years, it's been, you know, Daniel Levy hasn't wanted to front things, right? You're sort of picking off the carcass of an interview at Cambridge and one or two other things, and you know, we're not really being communicated to what the plan is. So right now, you know, because no one knows, there's so many different things, you know, that people speak about. No one actually really knows. So it is about, you know, maybe learning from the past, from their side, addressing what the future and the plan is, and hopefully getting fans back on side. Let's wait and see whether it happens or not, Michael. Time will tell. My bet is you know, I wouldn't hold out, you know, that this is going to be a great thing going forward. I go into it obviously wanting that, you know, this opens up a line of communication every 6 months or every season and stuff like that. But I've no doubt, you know, he's capitalizing on time being time's going well and trying to you know, I think the timing is sometimes, you know, timing isn't about luck. Sometimes you can't pick it. But Michael, big yourself up, my man. I appreciate the call in. Really enjoyed that.
Can like 30 seconds. One thing I want to say, right? I think we'll fucking smash Sheffield United. Like stock yourself up on FPL like Tottenham assets. I'm telling you, Son will bag a hat-trick. Like, I'm a self-proclaimed prophet after all, right? I'm actually like scared, but looking forward to the North London derby. I actually think we'll give them a game. But one thing I want to say, I'm actually scared shitless of Liverpool. I don't know why, but I have this bad feeling about playing Liverpool again, because always something stupid happens when we play Liverpool, right? And I think they are going like all guns blazing, and I think it will be a good game. But I'm afraid they will point us out, like, we will play this high line, we'll have the ball, and they will just like, slap us on the counter. I'm really afraid. I'm actually more afraid of Liverpool than Arsenal, which is a really strange thing to say, because we are playing them at the Emirates, right? But
I'm the same. I have a good feeling going into this North London derby. It's more the Liverpool one I'm afraid of. I think they've got the look. Jack Saw put in a question about in one of the pre-match build-ups after the United game, or was it after the Bournemouth game, where it's sort of like, have we been getting away with it a little? And I think that Liverpool game will tell us everything we need to know. So, for sure. But look, Michael, we'll have plenty of time to discuss that, and hopefully we'll see you. Are you around for the after show on the weekend?
Yeah, definitely. It's we are playing on Saturday, right?
Saturday.
Yeah. So I will be there.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to hearing your post-match breakdown, as we always have fun and good discussions on it. And hopefully we will be talking about another win, Michael, eh?
Yeah, of course, boys. See ya.
Alrighty.
Go on, you Spurs.
Thanks, Michael.
Big up,
Go on, Spurs. Go on, Spurs. Come on, Hajduk.
Thanks for the gifts.
How's that for manifestation, Jacko? The Hajduk split kit. I absolutely love it.
Love to go running in a Hajduk split kit. I need something like that, but it does need to come with an itch on the back. I think if I were to have a Hajduk split kit, I would need to have some random itch of some kind on the back there. Moondog, good evening to you. And he says, good evening, you lovely people. Thanks for wishing us a good evening. Thank you for the support, Moondog. I hope you're keeping well. Hope the little man is all right too. And Ange Ball is closer than it is further away, Moondog. You don't have to worry about the withdrawals anymore. It's on the way. It's getting closer to you. Don't have to fret. Big up to you, my man. And no more Richarlison opinion pieces, I promise.
Big up, Moondog. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. But you know what? This is what I love. Moondog doesn't back Richarlison. You do, and you still get along and laugh at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. But no, big up, Moondog. Hopefully you're keeping well. I do actually owe you a message. I know I still have to drop you that thing you asked me for, so no problem. I'll drop you that tomorrow, brother. But big yourself up, and hopefully you're keeping well. But Jack, just quickly as well, what about Chippy, right? I think I want one. Are you on it?
Am I not as much into the stuff, sort of animals or anything like that, Dave. I felt like if I had, a dog, around the house, I would absolutely be littered with sort of stuffed animals of Spurs gear and things like that. I think I would just always be buying a new chew toy, Spurs related for the dog. But sadly, I don't have one yet. So maybe in the future, Dave, I'll definitely be getting a Chirpy. But yeah, it looked like a nice thing to cuddle with. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And just quickly, King Audley says the chairman personally addressed the fan bases. To be honest, I haven't noticed, other ones doing it. What I will say on this is you look at the Brighton owner being very upfront with the Brighton fans, Brentford owner very upfront with the Brentford fans about what the plan, the vision is, and stuff like that. And look, what I will say is, Paul, is you're looking at a lot of new ownerships coming in, King Audley, a lot of the new ownerships coming into football now. They're smarter, right? They don't view it just as a business. They understand, yes, they've got a business, but if they were to set up a business, they're there longer than the customers or than the loyal supporters of that brand, right? Whereas when you buy a football club, ultimately, a lot of it has been generational. Most of the time, you have supporters that were there beforehand and will be there after your tenureship. So you have to address it a little bit differently because of the fanatical fans you have. However, if I'm a business owner, I wouldn't be looking at that as a bad thing. That's a great thing, an absolute great thing. But the club choose not to. So, look, for me, I think with a lot of the new ownerships coming in, they're copping onto that and they are having that relationship with the supporters and the fans and stuff like that. And, so for me, I think it'd be wise to get on that. And even if they're not doing annual meetings and stuff like that, there is constant communication through letters, and all that sort of stuff. So there, it has been done. It has been done. But I understand what you're saying, my man. It's not 100% common, but you're looking at a lot of the new people
I think you
coming
get
into sports. It's happening.
at the moment, I feel like you're getting every version. You're getting, owners that are almost having, pints with the fans, after the game. And then you're also getting owners that are halfway across the world that don't even know that the game's even happening in the first place. You are sort of still getting all versions of it. There are a lot of owners that I feel like are completely hands off, that have no idea that the club they even own in the first place is doing well or not. And then you have owners that show up to every single game, that are there with the fans, trying to, show that sort of face and that sort of, humility. So you definitely get a lot of both, I think, right now. And Spurs are, I think, more on the other end. We were more on the end of like, kind of halfway across the world, sort of pretending to be as distant from the fans as possible. If they are going to try to open themselves up a bit more, I would absolutely encourage that. And I wouldn't, try to tell them not to, right? I'm not going to just say, that it's a bad look, or that, that, oh, it's too late, or whatever sort of thing. I'm still going to show them some sort of appreciation that they are going to try to open things up. I still want to see them do more, but, can't fault them for trying, I think, in this case. King Otto.
For sure. And Foggy Foam, if this is true, let me know what time. I need to set my my alarm, man. I need to be all over this if this is true. Big yourself up. And also big up Bobby K coming in there as well. And also Eyal, who just bought his Spurs collar and lead for his puppy. It's addictive. That's the thing. When teams are going well, anything with a Spurs related, I fall in love with it, my man. So actually, no, I think not my man. Sorry, I think you're a woman, so that's my bad. But look, like I said, anything with like Spurs related right now, I'm all over it. I can't help but love it. So I do get it. But Foggy Phone, please let me know in the comments if there's a time on that. I definitely need to get on that for sure. Big yourself up, my man. But look, let's move forward. Also, actually, Jack, sorry, there was someone that wants you to change your name. Where's the comment gone?
Yeah, Derek Smith. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for straight up Knikic. Don't need to add anything else to it. Don't need to complicate it. I'm just going to go for Jacko, Knikic, something simple. Don't want to overcomplicate it. Just sort of keep it the same. In fact, I really am only, I think, adding one extra, or taking away maybe a letter and adding maybe two extra. So it's actually quite close to what I already have. But I would say Knikic, that does look pretty, it looks pretty nice. That looks pretty tempting, Derek. And it has the full last name in there. All you're doing is just adding in a Vic, to the end. So I could technically be also part of the Vic crew, like with Vicario. So I'd be happy with that. I'd love to be called Big Vic.
I love it. All over it, Derek. Don't be giving Jack them sort of delusional ideas. But 10 a.m. UK time with Jordan and White, and Mark also says the same thing. Tomorrow on White and Jordan, Spurs boss Ange Postecoglou joins Jim and Simon. He'll be discussing his great start to life at Spurs. I can guarantee you one thing: they'll come out absolutely in love with the guy. And they speak to a lot of people, and sometimes they twist them inside out, and stuff like that. For this one, I think it's going to be an absolute cracker, and I'm going to be all over that, Foggy Foam. Big yourself up, but I can guarantee you will hear them talk about how much respect and love they have for him after that interview for sure. But look, Jacko, we will keep this moving. Where are we at next, my man?
Let's go on to Tyler. If you're listening, Tyler, let's just give yourself a second here, or maybe we'll do Ellie straight ahead of you. But Tyler, you were after, I believe we had a bit of a change in the order sort of last minute. But Tyler, you were after Michael. If you do want to come in and grab the link, you are after Michael. Mark New was going to be after, but Mark New has to go towards the end because he's still trying to rush home. He's trying to go for a buzzer beater. I love it, Mark. And then Mia as well had to take the evening off. So now we're going on to Ellie and Paul Osper and Tyler and Mark New. So Ellie, if you're available, turn on your camera, or we can just have you on if you're ready.
I think Ellie said she wants to go last.
I think she's ready.
She's there.
Nope, she's
Let's
ready.
get her on. Let's get her on. Big up. Oh. Big up, Ellie.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, lads.
You keeping well?
I'm in the bathroom because Angela's watching Celebrate Goes Dating. Shame,
absolutely. I love the commitment to just come on and talk Tottenham, Ellie. I absolutely admire the commitment.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be watching that rubbish.
You've been having a good international break, Ellie. Højbjerg, 2 goals.
I know. Come on, I've been.
You're
I've
the
been
only one having a good
promoting him
international
everywhere.
break.
And he actually sent me a message today to say thank you for your kind message, because he was with his mum, and I said, "Big up! What a great son you've made." I said to her.
Aw. Did you see his outfit? It looked like Dave Harris.
I know.
Inspired.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he's getting fashion tips, Dave.
Exactly. He's wearing the Dave Harris special.
And he's taking up your striker role as well with these brilliant shots he's doing.
Do you know
what?
Ellie, I thought of you. I was like, Ellie must be the only one having a good international break. With scoring all these goals.
It makes you beg the question, though, right? You know, the guy has always produced for Denmark, and he is great for Denmark. It wasn't so long ago after the Euros. Everyone was like, how do we get that Højbjerg at Tottenham Hotspur? Ellie, should we be looking at playing him in one of the 8s instead of the number 6 then? Put him in a more bit of a advanced role and get him the ball in them sort of areas.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Right, but you know what though? He gets a raw deal because he was playing in a 2-man midfield with Bentancur for 3/4 of that season until Bentancur got injured, and then he was put with rookie Skip, who was having a bit of a stinker. He wasn't playing up to his standard either. So like, it was hard for him, the poor thing. You know, like, get off his case, man. Like if you put him in a 3-man or 4-man midfield, he'll look a lot different. And if you like play him in that advanced role as well, because he's got a skill set. I hate it when people say he's limited. What does that mean? Limited. Sorry, Angela's told me to shut up. Hold on a minute.
I think I feel like midfielders, Ellie, we often sometimes feel like every midfielder needs to be like Jude Bellingham, you know, or they need to be like David Beckham or something like that, or King Hoddle or, you know, whatever. And they need to be, you know, pinging passes 70 yards with both feet. They need to be running up and down, you know, box to box, scoring goals. And I just think maybe sometimes we do lose sight of it. There can be midfielders that sort of aren't that, but can still do a very serviceable role and still do a very good job in what they're capable of. And Højbjerg is not in any way perfect midfielder, but he still offers a lot of good and he still has his strengths. I think he has a good shot on him, like we've seen over the international break. I think he doesn't really get enough appreciation for some of the goals that he has actually scored for this team. He scored more than Winks has. He scored more than Skip has. He scored more than a lot of players who have actually played more games than even he has. And then too, I think he has that sort of passing range and that sort of work rate that again just doesn't get appreciated enough. But I mean, to say he's a limited midfielder, I think it's all right to say that you're not perfect about everything. You know, I think you can't. Not everybody's going to be a Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah, no footballer's perfect. Even Messi's got his flaws, you know, but they're hard to find. But he's got a few, right? But the thing is, right? Look. Højbjerg, he's not going to do your Messi type of stuff. He's not going to do your Hoddle type of stuff. He's not that type of player. He's the one who'll get stuck in. He can pass. That's one thing for sure. But he takes his time because he's a very methodical thinking player. You know, the thing is, a lot of people say he hasn't got a skill set. Yes, he has. He's not limited. He can play football. You don't get to be signed at Bayern Munich at 16 and win loads of trophies with them if you're not a good player. And then he took a step down, really. He shouldn't have gone to Southampton. He shouldn't have gone there. He should have come straight to us. But the thing is, we probably weren't looking for that type of player at the time because we had Poch in charge, and he's not a Poch player, is he? He's not even an Ange type player. But Ange likes players who move the ball quickly and run off the ball quickly. But Højbjerg's not that type of player. He's an intelligent footballer, you know, and he doesn't get enough credit. So I'm gonna big him up. I always big him up anyway. But I know he's got his flaws. I know he has. But what footballer hasn't?
True. But look, we're going to move on from Pierre and Højbjerg, you know.
It's too much. People think I'm crazy.
No, look, I get it. I get it with Pierre and Højbjerg, you know. I do get it, but you know, look, it's interesting to see whether he fits, you know, maybe a bit further up in the number 8 or not. But Ellie, what about this fan advisory meeting? What do you think there's any good to come from it? PR stunt, and what questions would you like addressed?
What did you just say about what?
The fan advisory board?
Or fan forum. Sorry, not the fan advisory
forum,
board. Sorry, the fan forum. Yeah, sorry.
Fan forum.
Fan forum.
Yeah, there's a forum that's going to be going to ask Daniel Levy, Sonny, and Ange questions. What are your thoughts on
sorry,
that?
because I was in Hastings yesterday, so I didn't catch up on that. And I've been on streams ever since. Everybody's invited me on their streams, so I've been really a busy woman.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, so basically, Ellie, you got Daniel Levy, Postecoglou, Son, and other sort of important people from the club, plus the women's manager and the women's captain. And they done it 4 years ago under when Poch was in charge, or just a bit before that. Where it was him and Hugo Lloris, and they sat there and they had that night with. So basically, it's representatives from the trust, supporters groups, and various sort of groups in and around Tottenham, where they be put sort of you register your interest and stuff like that. So basically, it's about it's a communication process where. The fans get to ask questions and they answer them. Now, how watered down or how much control they can have over it, we're not 100% sure. I'd say there's probably some element. But just as a fan, what sort of concerns would you like to raise and what, that you want answers to?
I want to know why I'm not on it. That's what I want to know. No, seriously, though, I think it's a good idea. As long as they don't censor it or red tape it. Just let the fans speak freely, I suppose they'll be warned not to say certain things, detrimental against the club. They will do that. But the thing is, it's a good idea if it actually produces anything, and makes the club stand up and be counted, But if it's just like a PR exercise, it's not going to serve any purpose, is it? And there are a lot of skeptics out there who will say it's a PR exercise just to get the other fans who think that the club are not open enough, on their side. Because the PR at their club is very closed door a lot of the time. Look what happened with the Harry Kane situation. Will he, won't he? Will he, won't he? Will he? And it was going on for 3 years, wasn't it? It wasn't just last year. It was 3 years. And it was like sickeningly embarrassing, right? Because the fans, we're getting treated like second-class citizens, well, not even second-class citizens, like fourth-class citizens, and it's not right. So I just hope they can mend some bridges and that this is not a PR exercise just to make the club look better, That's what I hope.
Look, from the club side, right, there's no doubt that they think they're being clever. Things are going well. Let's put Daniel Levy in the mix behind Son, a very, very lovable character at Tottenham. Behind Ange, a very, very lovable, person at Tottenham Hotspur. Let's put him out there in the mix and let's sort of, because, put him in a good light, put him in around good personalities and stuff like that. And hopefully Daniel shines through. And look, I think we can all see that from a mile away. I think we all know how these things operate by now. But, as a fan's point of view, I would be looking, that this is something that we can look to continue regularly. And I would actually like that to be asked. Is this something we can do every season, not only when things are going well, but when things are also going bad? Because the sign of a true leader is how they steer the ship with everyone on board, backing their ideas through the bad times. And he went missing. He went cowardly missing over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So, Jack.
No, he doesn't face the music, right? When the pressure's on him, he doesn't. But when the pressure's off of him, and when he gets an opportunity to look great, he's going to absolutely take advantage of it. And something similar is when we even had that tour over in Korea. And I remember Daniel Levy put himself like front and center, to be kind of one of the first people to, shake Sonny's hand and like sort of, show the big welcoming. And I don't really blame him for that, right? That's his opportunity to sort of kind of make himself look a bit more normalized and a bit more sort of kind of in some way kind of, real to the rest of the fan base. But it is I don't know. It's not a surprise that Levy is going to take advantage of any chance he can get to sort of look like things are happy and that, he's, just a guy that's just, a part of it like everybody else is, sort of thing, right? He's just sort of trying to normalize himself. And this is an opportunity to do it. I don't really blame him for doing it that way, but what I do blame him for is like what Dave is mentioning. Like when times have been tough, though, why haven't you really come out and really faced us in an actual normal sort of kind of real way? You've just accepted, kind of the circumstances and hid away from the rest of the club and hid away from the fan base. And now when things are going well, all of a sudden, your face shows up again. So yeah, you can't blame him.
That's where also the respect is earned when things are going bad, right? And I think if he was out there when things were going bad, he would have got a lot more respect from the supporters. Yes, of course, everyone would have picked apart what he would have said. Of course they would have. But it would have gathered him more respect from the fan base if he fronted up when things were bad.
Yeah, look what he does, right, guys? This is the evidence, right? He goes to Cambridge University, which is the pinnacle of British education with Oxford. It's up there. Instead of going to somewhere like Tottenham College, where we're from, Tottenham College, right, and speaking to the real people of Tottenham and gauging their opinions on how the club is run and getting the real facts about what the whole community thinks of the club and where we're at, There's been positive moves by appointing Ange Postecoglou. A lot of people were saying, what is he doing? But I always had faith because with Paul Irish Hotspur hippie, he knew about this guy. And I started reading about him. But the thing is, I'll get back to this bit about going out on the streets of Tottenham. You've got players like Lucas Moura walking down Tottenham High Road, mixing with the people, right, when he left. And then there's... Look, Harry Kane's your favourite player, but I don't know what happened there because that Shakhtar Donetsk, it was the perfect opportunity at that match for Harry Kane to say bye-bye to the fans, a proper bye-bye. And with Lloris as well, they're giving their goalkeeper...
Do you think he was instructed not to, though, Ellie, in case the move never actually materialised? Maybe he was actually instructed not to in case the move didn't end up materialising.
I think they knew. They knew that it was going to be a done deal. But even if it wasn't, right, they still should have done something for him, right? Not just a video. But
here's the thing, though, Ellie. Here's the thing.
That scene is very cold, to do a video.
Here's the thing, though, Ellie. I think, back, when the clubs relied a lot more on, the fan support and stuff like that, you got all that sort of interaction, right? Where you maybe got some goodbye videos and stuff like that. We're now at a point where you're talking £100 million per player.
I know.
Feelings and stuff like that completely go out the window when it comes to that sort of money and that sort of deal. I have no doubt they probably knew at the Shakhtar game, but was told until this deal is done, you cannot show it off. If you want to go and get paid your 400 grand a week, you will do as we say. And it's sort of like I think we've got to. I don't like it personally. I hate the way it's heading, but I think that's why that sort of happened. Now, look, of course, Kane could have done what Mason Mount done when he left for Chelsea. Could have came out, made a better video for the fans, I would say. But look, it is what it is. But
I just find it. I'm from a Greek culture, right? We're warm people. We want to see our players, right, say goodbye to us properly, not on video, Dave. It's so cold. I'm not saying Harry Kane is cold. I'm saying the club are cold for allowing that to happen. Because
I get it.
We love Harry Kane with all our hearts. Most fans, if they held out their hands, even if they think that he's done the dirty on us and gone to Bayern, they still loved him as a player, because he was fantastic for us. And I don't like this narrative that he wasn't good in big games. Right, maybe he wasn't, but it's a bloody team game. Every single player, you've got to point your finger at every player, not just Harry Kane, saying that he's not a big player. You know, you've got those 11 players that go on the pitch and any substitutes that come on, they can affect the game as well. It's not just Harry Kane, right?
No, look, I get it. The
I
thing
hear
is,
the narrative. I hear the narrative. They say, "Oh, if Drogba done this, Drogba done that, Drogba done this, Drogba." You know, it just gets sickening. Like it's just petty. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I know his comments have hit hard with some of our community, but I just feel he's only saying what everybody else was saying. Yeah, we were all saying
100%.
it. He's calling
100%.
out the club. Conte called us out. Kane's called us out, but in a more subtle way. He's called us out. So at the end of the day, I don't blame Harry Kane for what he did. But what I would have loved is that the club allowed him to say a proper goodbye, because he deserved that himself.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. I agree. But look, you know, hopefully that's something they can learn from in the future and, you know, come up with some way of doing something like that. But Ellie, big yourself up. Really appreciate your time this evening and great chatting to you.
Can I just pick up two of my girls very quickly?
Yes.
Just the girl loves Spurs. Obviously, my Kate, she's had a really bad week this week with her husband breaking her arm, and she's got whiplash from a car accident. So big up, Kate. Hang on in there, and you, Jimbo, because they're the pillar of our community. These two people, they're lovely people as well. All right, and then obviously my girl. Even though we have our spats now and then, I still love Mia. She's a lovely lady, and she worked so hard to build her channel up.
She's fabulous.
Between the lines, you know, like you can have disagreements on football, but we're still mates. You know what I mean? Like, and also, I want to big up the Free Spurs boys of Bobby K, because I love those boys. They're lovely.
Nice
They're
one, Ali.
such lovely people as well. Away from the cameras, they're so nice. So there you go. I've got my 3 in, and now
Just a girl who loves Spurs, 3 Spurs boys, and then as well. Why am I forgetting the third one that you mentioned there?
Between the lines.
Spurs between the lines. Head on over to Mia, and I did something with Mia the other day as well. Everybody that you should check out tomorrow. Something will be up there that I'm in as well over on Mia's channel. Extra reason. Thank you, Ellie.
Just one more. Joe's. Jose on El Tel Cocorel. Please, everybody get over there and subscribe to Jose. He's trying to make it. I think he's just got over 100 subscribers. Let us get him to at least 200. Come on, lads. Come on.
Listen to the Queen. Listen to the
Big
Queen,
up,
Ali.
Yeah.
Big up, Ali.
He's a lovely guy as well. So
yeah, Jose.
He knows his football. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. No, I think he said he wants to come over here and speak with us one day about it. So we'll definitely have a conversation with him for sure. But Ellie, big yourself up, my dear. Really appreciate your time, and we'll let you get back to go spending time with with your daughter.
I don't want to watch it. I'm going to go upstairs.
Well, then you go for a nap. Go for a nap.
All right, darling.
Have a good night, Ellie.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ellie, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Great conversation. Every fan show she comes on, the first 5 minutes is always spent about Højbjerg. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. The dedication behind a player, absolutely love it. More fanatical than I was behind Harry Kane, I'd probably argue.
More
but look, Jack,
of a good week for Højbjerg than usual, though. So I think, she probably was warranted an extra minute on it. But let's get on to the next guest. It's going to be Tyler, and then we're going to finish off with Paul. And then if Mark New is coming back, Mark New is going to be the closer. Anybody, if you did save the link at all, I would say please do it in the next few minutes or so, because I think, we have sort of, I think put out the link for a while now. We kept it up for close to 2 hours. And then 2, I think, as well, we've gone through a lot of guests tonight. So it would be kind of a big favor if you are planning on coming on and you have been saving that link, would be great to do it now in order to come in here. But the rest of the order is going to be Tyler, Paul, and then Mark New. What's up, Tyler?
How you guys doing?
Doing all right, my man. And what's going on with you? How about, kind of the news today with Daniel Levy, right? Going out to speak to the fan base. It's not something I expected. And, I'm kind of a bit more positive about it than others are. I think, Tyler, some people kind of just feel like it's just a PR exercise, not really much to really think about or really read into. But I don't know. I feel like seeing at least some type of action and some type of openness from the club is only a step in the right direction.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know what you're talking about. I just loaded in. I didn't see any news today. The only recent news I've heard about was the young center back, obviously from Croatia.
Big-ish 16-year-old.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely awesome. We're looking at youth players from all over the place now. Plus, in the last couple of years, we brought in that Jude Bell from Chelsea, Ashley Phillips now. I mean, I love that we're bringing in youth and getting a guy like him. They're saying he's the top prospect for his age group, right, at center back. So, I mean, absolutely incredible. He was linked with, what was it, PSG earlier in the summer?
Man City, PSG, Liverpool, you name it, all the big clubs were sniffing around. But Tyler, I actually think this is something the club don't get enough praise on. Look, everyone hears me criticising Daniel Levy a lot. Some of them are bored of it, right? But here's where I actually do think they deserve a lot of praise, Back when I was very unhappy with what I was seeing going on, I constantly, spoke about we have no youth players coming up, which then means we have to make our budget stretch, because we've got nothing coming through. But with producing youth players, and if they come true, then all of a sudden you're looking at 80 million, one position to go for. You can spend that 8 million and bring someone in world class, right? That's where we need to get back to.
Yeah.
But I think this is something where the club deserves a massive bit of praise by, identifying a young talent, getting them in here and pushing them through, because it is something that we've done well before. I remember growing up as a Spurs fan, we were constantly signing youngsters that I was going off researching, looking into and stuff like that for the future. Aaron Lennon, Danny Rose, Gareth Bale, Carl Walker, Lloris, we got him in young enough. Christian Eriksen, Jan Vertonghen, the list goes on and
even
on.
Dele Alli,
the biggest one. Dele Alli, exactly, another prime example, So it's something the club have done well that they sort of got away from. And I don't think they're getting enough praise for what they're currently doing in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it hasn't just been, this year. It's been, even the last couple. We're really bringing in a lot of good youth players. We're winning U17, U18 tournaments. I mean, it's just awesome to see, I think. Yeah. And with Ange, it's looking like he's going to start to, start bringing them, having an actual path to the first team finally, right? We've had so many youngsters over the years, just end up walking away for free, basically. Their contract runs up. They don't want to sign another contract because we have absolutely no path into the first team. I don't blame them at all for leaving. I'm sure that they love the club, but they need to play. They need to get better. They need to, have a career. And we're just not. We just haven't given them opportunities. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
I'm just going to say quickly, I think when you look at the under 16s or under 17s, more so than the under 18s, I think you got to look at it that I think we've just got a very special sort of generation coming through on that, because with this guy we just signed from Croatia, right? He can't come in until 2025 because the Brexit rules state that they can't bring in players under the age of 18. That's why you're seeing a lot of Irish players now go out to the likes of Spain, Germany, Italy, and stuff like that. So I think when you look at the under 17s, especially, I think you look at that as just the golden generation, the golden crop. But when you look at the under 21s, for prime example, Tyler, right? That division we were in this season, we were due to be relegated out of that last season. Yeah. I can't remember what happened, but for whatever reason, we didn't get relegated. But we're now smashing teams that slapped us last season. And that's due to the recruitment, tying down the right individuals to long-term contracts, but the main thing is the recruitment, the likes of players that we've brought in to help that is what's coming to the fore in the under 21s.
And yeah, we stole a guy from Chelsea. That Jude Bell has been very good as well. It's just awesome to see. I mean, and they're playing good football too. They're playing Ange ball in there for the most part, so they'll already be somewhat used to the system when they try to get put into the first team, whatever, whether it's practices or not. It's just a breath of fresh air. Finally, see some youth, trust in the youth too. Sold Sanchez, got rid of Tanganga, Rodon. They just weren't good enough. So why not just bring in the youth, what we're doing now, and test them out? If they make mistakes, they make mistakes. They should make mistakes right now. If they're perfect right now, they're absolutely incredible. Like, they're always going to make mistakes early on. They're going to learn from them, and I think it's just awesome that we're finally, bringing them into the team. I mean, we've been saying it for a while.
Yeah. But this also feels like a player, Tyler, though, that could have gone anywhere, right? He could have picked
Yeah.
any of the top clubs to, have sort of progressed his career with. But the fact that he chose Spurs, ahead of Real Madrid, ahead of AC Milan, ahead of Man City, a lot of clubs that, have a proven track record, or also just have that bit of glamour and that bit of, sort of kind of just, sort of big club, type of glamour. Yet he's chosen Spurs because, I don't know, he probably thinks that there's a better chance of him playing, in a senior team and playing, at a high level with Spurs, sooner rather than later than with the other clubs, it feels like.
Yeah, maybe he even talked to Perisic, a little bit of Perisic recruitment there.
Luka Modric, who knows? I mean,
Gavar-
Modric probably still has some good things to
Yep.
say about Spurs.
We should have already had gotten Gavardio years ago. Sadly we missed out on that Croatian superstar, but hopefully this guy will be even better.
Yeah,
hopefully. Just on this guy quickly, EL asks, is the 16-year-old 6'4" centre back Paratici's work too? On this, what I would say is I don't think it's 100% his work, but what I will say is I do think it's a work of the new analytical and data scouting model that we went to put in place, the one that Brighton and Brentford and that have in place. And everyone, when people talk about the data and the scouting model, right, people go, oh well, what about this player in league in say one of the top fives in the league? That's not what it's used for. That we should already have a good grasp on through scouts and people in them countries working for Tottenham Hotspur, recommending them to us to the top 5 leagues. You should always have that as a base cover. You should know exactly what's going on there. But what the actual data and the analytical scouting model is actually used for is for the smaller leagues, like the Croatian league, leagues like that, right, where they've got a big a footballing nation, a good sort of standing in the world, but their leagues maybe aren't as good, and that's what the analytical and scouting model is used for. So you sort of, whatever way they devise it, you use that formula and you put it into maybe this big database and it'll flag up players that meet that, and what it's doing is it's putting us in with the likes of Liverpool, Man City, PSGs and stuff like that now, which they've all been good at. It's now putting us in that category and it's now putting them on our radar, which means we can act sooner than, if we want to, we can pull the trigger sooner. And that's what we've ultimately sort of ended up doing here. So this is the benefit of that model. Anyone that speaks about the model being used for the top 5 leagues across the world, it is absolutely nonsense. It's not what it's used for. You look at Brentford, look at Brighton. They're bringing in players from smaller leagues into the academies and developing the pathway through, because the data and the analytics tell them that if you develop them, this is the player you're going to get out at the end. And that's the ultimate goal of the reason why we use it. And that's a result of it, is the smaller leagues. And the idea is so that you're not spending money on people in them countries, who, look, some of them, over here in Ireland, right, they don't go all around Ireland for the clubs, They sit themselves in strategic locations, and it's only them players from them counties that end up being filtering through. Even though the rest of the country would have great talent, you're not maximising it. So the whole idea is that them players don't slip through the radar, and that's what it's used for ultimately. So,
yeah, 100%. And I'd much rather, go this route of trying to bring in these gems and good young players and try to, mold them perfectly for our system. And, whether or not they end up working out or not, with guys like these, you can just, resell them for pretty much the same price you probably get them for, if not more, if they don't end up fitting the system. I mean, I don't know, just look at Brighton, like they're double, tripling, quadrupling their money on guys, and look at Caicedo so far at Chelsea. He's not working out for them right now. I mean, obviously it's way too early to say anything, but they're getting guys for their system perfectly, and it's just beautiful work they're doing. We have to. I'd love for us to start following that. Bringing that Valise from Argentina is incredible. I think he has really good potential. His heading ability, I was watching the other day on YouTube. His heading ability is absolutely incredible. So get some crosses into him later in the year. Because I think we'll probably eventually bring him into the team a little bit later in the season. Maybe probably only get minutes barely off the bench, but just try to start getting them into the team.
See, this youngster, he can't play, he can't sign for Tottenham. Well, he can't officially come to Tottenham until 2025.
He's 16 now, right? You said?
Yeah, so he can only come when he's 18. So, but look, it'll be interesting how I know they can invite him over for a couple of weeks trial. Well, not trials, but a couple of weeks here and there and stuff like
Oh,
that.
so he can't even wait. He
Yeah.
can't even come over into the youth teams now.
No.
Oh, really? Huh?
No, because of Brexit. And Brexit basically took them out of the EU, so they don't operate under the same rules. And it's a rule FIFA sort of, doubled down on it by saying, players under 18 can't go to England.
I have no idea how that works, but
yeah, it's political nonsense.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's political nonsense. But Tyler, I know you said maybe, look, you don't really, care much about the fan meeting and stuff like that. But is there anything?
I just didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah. Well, sorry, my bad. You didn't hear anything about it. But is there anything you would like to see asked, that would represent you as a fan?
I mean, I would just like to know, what's genuinely the plan for the club? Do we want to be a big club where we're challenging for the league? We're challenging for European trophies and cup trophies at the same time. We have chances to win maybe a treble or whatever. Or are we going to continue to just be a team that is just focused solely on getting top 4 every season, and the cups are whatever. We get knocked out. Like Kane's comments are just his comments about, if we lose a couple games, if he lost a couple games at Tottenham, it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, that honestly really pissed me off. And I absolutely love Kane. I don't know if he's talking like, I think he's talking more of the club mentality.
Echoes very similar to what Conte said, though, Tyler, in a way, because
Yeah.
Conte also spoke about players not wanting or can't play under pressure, that winning isn't everything. Jose Mourinho, you've heard sort of similar quotes from since. It's repetitive, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's obviously brought on by the leadership and like the owners and stuff of the club, that not having, the will to just win. They care obviously a little bit more of, the money side, profiting. But like with Kane saying that, it's like, okay, so you think the club, that's, the club's mentality and stuff. But I really hope that he genuinely, like, whenever we lose a couple of games, if he was thinking like, it's not that big of a deal because I'm with Tottenham, then that's really concerning if he was feeling like that, like internally, because he should have been wanting to win every single game.
Internally. I definitely don't think it was him internally. I think he was more so reflecting on players in and around the club. But look, hopefully all that now can be put to bed and we can move on in a positive direction. Before we let you go, Big T, I mean, what's your thoughts ahead of this weekend? What do you do with Richarlison? Do you play him? Do you not? Do you play Son up top? Do you play Brennan Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely just play Son up top again. He was incredible in I don't even remember. Was it the Bournemouth we played last? Is that who we played last?
Burnley. Bournemouth was the second one.
I can't even remember. This international break has gone by so slow.
I had one of those moments.
It's like USA played Uzbekistan. Like I couldn't even watch USA play a competitive match. We won 3-0, but it was a crap performance. But the Euro games haven't really been that entertaining. I'm excited for the Premier League to start back up. I just wanted to say, from like Ellie's comments earlier about Kane leaving the club when he was the Shakhtar Donetsk game, like it wasn't. I don't think it was 100% confirmed. Like you were saying, Dave, if they did end up the deal ended up canceling, and if he would have said a goodbye there, it would have killed our season if he had ended up staying. So I think he absolutely couldn't have, done that. Lloris definitely should have had a goodbye in one of those preseason games probably, but I don't know exactly what, he did in that locker room and all the stuff he's been saying. So who knows if it was just way too, like, he pissed the club off so much that they didn't even want to give him a goodbye. I don't know. But I do want to say about Lucas, because we had the anniversary, the birthday of the club, whatever. Lucas was one of the only, former players or even current players to like comment on it, saying how much he loved the club, saying happy birthday to the club. I just want to say I absolutely love Lucas Moura. He's always going to be a Tottenham legend for me. He gave me my absolute favorite Tottenham memory. I've only been a fan for like 10 years, That's when I started getting into the sport mostly. But he's an absolute Tottenham legend for me. He absolutely loved the club, and he gave his all every time he was on the pitch. So I just want to say big up Lucas Moura. We love you. I love you. Thank you for giving everything to the club and, loving the club so much, and still to this day, showing us love.
Yeah,
So
I do like
Lucas
that
Moura.
he's wishing us, the happy birthday. I like that, Tyler. He's still, no matter what, is going to show love and appreciation towards the club. That's for sure. And any final words, in general, though, Tyler, for just sort of the rest of the Harris Army for the rest of the week ahead before we let you go?
Just keep trusting in Ange. Just keep improving on each performance, hopefully. I'd like to see Sonny back at striker. Brennan Johnson probably come off the bench. I don't know maybe if you should start or not, because Kulu had a really good game, I believe, in this last game for Sweden. Didn't he have a goal and an assist or something? So I'd like to see him, try to continue on that performance. I don't know what position he ended up playing for Sweden. I didn't watch the game. I just saw that he had scored and got an assist. I think, Perisic got 2 assists as well. I think, did they play today? I don't know if they played today or not.
I'm not sure, but you're right about Kulusevski, getting the goal and the assist. I believe it was yesterday. Højbjerg played yesterday, grabbed a goal. He also had another goal in another match. Van de Ven, I'm not sure if he played against Ireland. I'm not sure, but he was called up to the team. I don't think Vicario got any action. I'm trying to think. Basuma, actually, even though I think he was only playing, a pretty small sort of nation in Africa. I forget who it was, but he, absolutely balled out for Mali. So, pretty good international break for the most part for every player.
It doesn't look like any, injuries so far.
No.
It doesn't look like. And I want to say I watched that Argentina game, and Chris Romero was literally absolutely incredible. I mean, I was literally in shock watching the game. I was so happy. Literally a perfect center back performance. You saw Messi's quotes after the game saying that he's like one of the best, if not the best, center back in the world. I don't know about that. I do think he's absolutely incredible though, and I definitely say he's probably top 10, maybe top 5 in the world right now. Our back line right now, those 2 center backs.
Definitely. You would think Messi would know probably a good defender considering how many he embarrasses on a regular occasion. So if he's not embarrassing Romero as much as others, then he must be pretty good. But Tyler, thanks for coming on this evening, my friend. Thanks for keeping us company. Thanks for coming on and having your say. And Ange Ball is coming back sooner than it is further away from us. The withdrawals won't be for much longer.
Yeah, thank God. All right, guys. Tyler. Have a good one. Thanks a lot for having me on again. Appreciate it.
No worries at all. See you, my sir.
See you guys.
My man. Bye. Alrighty, everybody. Please wish Tyler a good rest of his evening. Please thank him for joining us in the chat as well. It's good to see him always coming on, Tyler. We absolutely love him. He's as well just a fan of just he wants to get back to the good old days under Ange for sure. Dave, is the computer doing all right?
Yeah, I think it's back again. My internet went crazy there for a minute. I was glitching and stalling everywhere, but I think I'm back.
Okay, no worries. Well, it looks like this could be the last guest of the evening, unless Mark New is going to be making a last-minute entrance. Jim has said, great show, guys. Really chilled me out. And thanks, gents. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Jim. And I hope the arm heals up. Let me know if you can allow me to virtually sign the cast if you have one at this stage, Jim. But I do wish you the best of recovery, and I hope that you also have a good nurse and a good sort of a good aide right next to you. And Kate, hopefully she's taking good care of you.
Well, see, Jack, there's things called silver linings, right? He doesn't have to do any cooking for a few weeks, no cleaning, because he can't do it. So, sit back, enjoy it, and enjoy people making a fuss over you, Jim. That's what I say, my man. Big yourself up.
Definitely. Well, let's go on to the Paul the Hotspur hippie. Let's see what he has to say. Back to Australia. We've gone back and forth to Australia a few times now.
Let's get him on. We're going down under again. Big up, Paul. How are you keeping?
I'm all right, man. Nice to see you back, Dave. Were you off having a quick sneaky bowl of caviar with your rugby friends there, were you?
I was Saturday. I was watching the game with a couple of my mates, and then yesterday I was up at the Aviva, watching Ireland be buried yet again. So that was my weekend.
It's not a good team at the moment, Ireland have got, is it?
Do you know what, Paul? It's just he's playing a wing-back system with Matt Doherty and James McLean, right? So automatically that's set up for failure.
That's it, done.
And then, once they get the ball past the halfway line, there's no plan of attack. Like the build-up plan, I'm actually fine with. Moving it left to right, and shifting your opposition, I'm fine with. And then when it gets out to the wing-back, there's a lot of times we create a 2-on-1 situation. So you're looking at the wing-back and you're like, okay, turn on the jets, sprint. Simple ball around the outside of the full-back, in behind into the wing-back, you're in. Nope. The full-back stays there, looks to drop it in 2 feet, gives it back across. It's absolutely turgid, and I've had enough of it at this point. I've absolutely had enough. Matt Doherty again yesterday. I know people are going to say, Dave, you have an agenda, but it got to the point. I was screaming at him, and people around me were just laughing because they know how bad he is. For instance, we go 1-0 up. We needed to win to stay in, with a chance of getting out of the group. Adam Eder, we get gifted an absolute gift from God. We get a penalty, right? Van Dijk handball. We put it away, 1-0 up. Ball comes to Matt Doherty. We're getting a foothold in the game. We're playing all right. Ball comes to Matt Doherty. Simple cushion header down to a player near him. What have we seen at Tottenham? Can't do it. So he gives the ball straight back to Holland. They go up, get a penalty, score. And then to try and make up from the errors, he decided to start pumping the ball back to their goalkeeper, pumping it into their centre-backs. Every pass he went, we're going astray. I mean, basically, I'm just fed up with the whole lot, Paul. Fed up.
Yeah. Don't blame me, man.
Well, people have had to endure Southgate. They've had to endure Ireland. We don't have to endure Ange. We get to love Ange. And I've been saying this. The withdrawals are no longer as severe because we're closer to Ange coming back than it is further away from us. Paul, first.
It's like we just come through winter.
Right. Yeah, we're over the hurdle, as they say. Sheffield United, would you kind of go with the same lineup? Would you sort of stick with the same momentum that we had in that Burnley game? Would you play Sonny again? Richarlison, your favorite shirt swapper, would you give him a chance, to get some minutes? What do you look at, with the Sheffield United?
I think it'd be the same team, but maybe Brennan Johnson might get a look in. And I saw, was it Mark Bridges, on Last Word on Spurs, and he was quite adamant that Ange really, really wanted Brennan Johnson in the team. So he might make an appearance, but I wouldn't be putting Richie on. Maybe with half an hour to go, if either we put the game to bed or if we need something different. But no, poor guy's not going well at the moment, is he? So I think putting him on at the start would be too much pressure for him. Just adds to it.
If you had advice for Richie, what would you say to him? He's clearly going through a tough time, clearly.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What can you say? I mean, when you see a player like crying when things go badly, like I think tears of joy when you've won, that's one thing. But when you've been beaten or you haven't played well and you break down a bit, it's not. I mean, everyone's different, of course, though. But I don't know, man. I don't know Richie, but I'd love him to come good. I think everyone would. We can see he's struggling, but you just see that. Like, I think he's been getting better with each game, but then there's a point where he just loses his head. So, like against Bournemouth, I thought he had a pretty good first half. Or not pretty good, but better. But then the second half, slipping over the board and lashing out at players, not cool, man. So needs to sort all that out. I'm actually looking forward to this fan thing with the. I'm really looking forward to it. Not because of leaving, because that's just going to be a load of old crap, isn't it? But Ange did quite a few of these things with fans when he was at Celtic, and they were really good.
Do you think this was his idea to do it then, and he sort of forced Levy's hand to do it? Possible.
I mean, we haven't had him for a while. We haven't had him under the last 2 or 3 managers, have we? So I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe the PR people have asked previous managers and they're not interested, but Ange just said okay. But you're not going to get anything out of Levy. It's like I don't care. Well, I remember the first one Ange did at Celtic, it was with the Celtic's new CEO. Didn't last very long. I've forgotten his name now. But all the fans were just questioning Ange. They were just asking Ange. And it gave a real chance to, create a bit of rapport. And the way I see it is there's no point in having a go at Levy. Ange is our man on the inside. He's out. He's with us. He's one of us. So the more we build that relationship with Ange, the better it'll be. That's the only way I can see us doing it. But Ange gave really thoughtful answers to fans' questions. Gave them good respect. So I'm looking forward to it. Really am.
I actually think that's a good way of looking at it. I think they'll definitely sort of build Ange's relationships with the fans a hell of a lot more as well. I think you're absolutely spot on that. Look, I disagree with John on maybe that Conte or Jose didn't want to do it. I just don't think Daniel
I'm just
Levy.
Speculating. I don't know, man. But yeah,
I'm just saying I don't think Daniel Levy would take the risk of doing it with a Jose or Conte. He can't control what they're going to say, right? Whereas I think Ange is a bit of a smart cookie.
He'd be more worried about them than the fans.
Exactly. But I also think Ange is a bit of a smart cookie. I think he knows that, if I play the ball with Daniel Levy, come next summer, I'll get exactly what I want, and I think that's what he ultimately he's trying to do. I just don't think Levy would have took the risk with Jose and Conte because he could not control what they were going to answer, or not even that he couldn't control. He couldn't trust them that they wouldn't throw him under the bus and take the slack.
Yeah, maybe that's true. I mean, we've already heard Ange say, when he was asked about something, the question was something like club signings and all that. He said, "No, they're all I take responsibility. I give the okay." Unlike, a previous incumbent, it's a club signing. So.
What would you ask Ange, Paul, if you were in the room?
I've been thinking about this for the last 2 hours, and the best I can come up with would be, how would you feel leading the team on at Wembley in an FA Cup final, Ange? That's all I can think of, really, because I know he used to watch it when he was a kid. It's a big deal here. Friends of mine over here, my age, it was probably the only game you got to see, and it was a big thing. Just as we used to have it in England, it'd be a full day build up, team on the bus. Be exactly the same over here, but it'd be starting midnight, and anyone who was a football fan over here would be watching it. So I think it'd be quite special for them.
Do you know what? I beg, with it being the week of the North London Derby, right? I beg someone to ask him an Arsenal question because we already know what way he's going to answer it. Right? That excitement's about to be around the corner, right? The constant jibes at Arsenal. You watch. You wouldn't surprise if it starts as soon as the final whistle of the Sheffield United game ends.
Hopefully, Arteta will call Ange lucky, and we'll see how Ange responds to that because he didn't. He was when Michael Beale. He's probably going to lose his job soon. When Michael Beale said, "Oh, Ange is lucky," Ange referred to it just now and then. Just you could tell Michael Beale, the Rangers manager, wasn't in Ange's head. He's not obsessed with him like a Kevin Keegan. Oh, I'd love it if we beat him, but just now and then, just get back in your box, Beale. So I'd love it if Arteta wants to come and have a tango with Ange. That'd be beautiful.
Because we've already seen with Arteta, right? You can throw him off the game if you beat him up in the press conference. Conte at the end of on the Champions League run, he absolutely made Arteta look stupid, and then all of a sudden Arteta started questioning everything he was doing. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I don't think he's got it. I mean, I haven't really watched much of Arsenal this year, but I see the word on the street with some Arsenal fans is that they're not happy. Arteta's playing players out of position, and they're just being a bit ropey. It's a shame they got rid of Holding because he was crap.
Like they're dire.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, it's only a couple of days till the squad numbers come out. Do you two reckon? Who do you reckon is going to miss out? Do you reckon Dyer's going to get a number or not?
Can I give you a quick thing that has been annoying me, Paul, since we're sort of at the end of the show, anyways, that maybe I didn't get to talk about. I do get a little tired of the whole Dyer is, sitting around and fighting for his place. I find that to be such a PR line because if he is being shown the door by Ange, the club, and as well as pretty much the fan base, then that's sort of like saying, you know, you're sticking around after someone has fired you. It's sort of like someone is just giving you the sack, and you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to stick around. It's like, no, you're not. I just fired you. Like, get out of here. And like, he's like, no, I'm going to stick around and fight for my place. It's like, no, you're not. Like, we just fired you, mate. And it just seems like it's that sort of weird situation where Dyer's either playing dumb or he can't take the hint that no one wants him here anymore. And he's, you know, then instead sort of spinning it as if he's fighting for his place. He's not fighting for his place. He's being shown the door. So how could you really fight for anything if you're being shown the door? It doesn't really work that way. It's a two-way street, right? It's not like you just get to decide to stay and fight for your place. You're just deciding to stay and hold the club hostage and hold out for the rest of your contract. That's what you're deciding to do. You're not deciding to stay and fight for your place. I just don't really, I get a little annoyed by that sort of PR line that sort of gets spun about it. That's my little rant.
Yeah, or he's just deluded. I mean, he's got the turning speed of a doner kebab, you know, on a spit, you know, so... I mean, there's no coming back.
You can't have it be both ways, you know. Like you can't have it like where you're sticking around, and even though you've been shown the door, like you decide to stick around against, you know, Ange's wishes, and then you can't just spin that as if like, you know, you're fighting for your place. Like Ange hasn't even given you a place to fight for.
And I mean, you know, he thinks he's going to go on some lucrative wage if he goes on a free, but if he's played no football for a year, no one's going to touch him. You know, why would you buy someone that hasn't been playing football for a year? You know, you're talking not even a championship side man would do that, you know? So he's going to earn less money and play for a crappier team.
The thing is, you know, I liken it similar to Maguire, right? You know, Maguire thinks he's too good for West Ham. He believes he's at England level. He believes he's at Man United's level. You know, you look at Dyer. He believes he's at England level. He believes he's at Tottenham level. And that's the problem. You're dealing with guys with the delusions of grandeur. And it's a real problem. You know, what they really need to do is let a fan like me sit in a room with them, and I'd make them cop on and realize very, very quickly, I'm not even in an aggressive way. I'll just simply do my homework. You know, there's a chart. Here. And then I'll go through about 100 pages. I'll be like, you know what, Dar, I'm not doing the next 100. Surely you get the hint. You know, it's not that hard to make these guys realize. But unfortunately, around some of these guys, what you've got now is yes men, because they all benefit off the money and the lifestyle that comes with the football player. So they're all yes men, inflated egos, boost them up. Dyer don't mind what they're saying. They don't have a clue. No, you know, and that's the biggest problem you've got. They need real people, you know, or not even real people, but just someone that's going to sit there and, you know, put him in a room with someone that doesn't believe he's so good, let him give all the reasons why, and then challenge him and go, okay, if you're as good as you say you are, go and prove me wrong. You know, I'm just sick of it. And like Jack said, right, he hasn't even given them a place to fight for. He's ousted them from the squad. And for me, I genuinely think Dyer's, he's looking at the manager turnover of the last few years, and he's gone, I don't believe Ange's going to be here next summer. So I'm going to sit out and I'm going to wait it out. I guarantee you that's what he's doing.
Maybe you might have a point there, but he's going to have a long wait, I reckon, because I don't think Ange is going anywhere at the moment. I mean, he's deluded, isn't he? Well, we're the best club in England at the moment. So, and I know while Ribsy was on earlier saying we're going to win the league's ridiculous, but I've been saying it every year for 45 years now. I'm not going to stop now and get all realistic. We're going to win the league.
You know what, Paul? You know, that's the dream of a football fan, right? You know, if you can't be deluded and think your team can overcome all the odds just to go and win a league title, then what's the point of supporting football? Supporting football is all about the dream, you know?
Yeah. There's no point. Like, if you take delusion, but I get this, you know, where you know, people say, "Oh, you're deluded." It's like, well, every fan's deluded. Every fan of any club in the world, when they're watching a game on TV, says something like, "Oh, come on." That's delusion. So I'm just, you know, amping it up to 11.
Look, I don't see why not. While you're winning, enjoy it, you know, very quickly, like we've seen last season, like we've seen under Jose Mourinho. You could be top of the league 1 minute and then all of a sudden it falls off a cliff. So, you know, enjoy it while it's here. That's what I say.
It feels like we were earning our position this year, you know. It's not like the last couple of years where we've flown high, where we've just been jamming results and being boring. This year, I don't know, there's a good fight and spirit and style about us. We're well worth our second place so far. I know it's only 4 games in, but it's 3 away games and 1 home game against Man United. Okay, they're a shit show at the moment, but it's still Man United. I don't care.
No, it's sort of. I said this kind of to Mia the other day, Paul, that there's a difference between sort of like when you win a game and you're delighted that your team won, right? You know, you won 3-0, you're delighted. But sometimes you still might not even feel all that confident in your team. You just happen to have won 3-0 on the day. You know, the guys played well, but you still, like, if you were asked, you know, what about if you were to play this team tomorrow, you know, you probably would be like, no, I don't feel confident. Like, no, thanks. Whereas like with Ange, you would say that's the opposite. It's sort of like most Spurs fans feel pretty confident against most teams. Yes, they would go in a little nervous, but they're definitely going in with more sort of pride and more sort of confidence in what we're doing and how we look than we did previously. Whereas, you know, before when we would win under Conte and Mourinho, it sort of felt like, yeah, we were always getting away with it a little bit, and we weren't always, you know, the most sort of confident in what we actually were doing out there. Whereas now, I think that's a bit different, for sure.
Yeah,
That's a huge change.
You know, we got Sheffield United, then we got Arsenal and Liverpool, and then after that, we've got a string of winnable fixtures until we play Man City in December. So if we're still snapping at the heels of Man City in December, that's going to be a big game, and that might tell us something, you know.
Look, you know, I think many people are expecting Spurs to, you know, sort of fail against Arsenal and Liverpool. Not Spurs fans, but everyone outside of that. I think everyone's looking at these two games. I reckon they're like, this is going to be the true test. If we come out of that unscathed, it's going to be like Arsenal season last year, where it'll be the next one. Oh, can they get through this? We will. Look, let's wait and see what happens, Paul. I'm not telling you to get even more deluded, by the way, but, you know, feel free. But, you know, Paul, where can people find you, though, my man? You know, you got a lot of fans. You got a lot of people who love your sort of, you know, straightforward sort of no BS, you know, approach to talking about Tottenham, which I certainly enjoy, you know. But where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not doing pre-match build-ups on the Irish Hotspur or We Are Tottenham TV, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Hotspur Hippie. There's the link there. There we go. Come on over. And, you know, if you want to know when I'm doing stuff, you might as well click the bell, because I'm unreliable. I don't schedule things. It's just on a whim when I feel like doing things. But I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I've got YouTube to thank for that, actually, because yours was the first channel I stuck my head up on a couple of years ago. And so, you know, thanks for all the help from YouTube.
We're glad you did. And you showed us the way of Ange, you know, ever since, you know, you paid us back and, you know, showed us the way of Ange.
I remember that. Remember those days?
Never forget. Never forget.
I've still got the screenshot.
Yeah. The video's still up there. The video's still up there.
I'm going to send the screenshot to you now and then. That's it. I won't tweet you or anything like that, but just to you, Jack. Just to you.
That'd be pretty, I would love to be called out years later. that would be great.
But no, look, you know, Paul, as much as you thank us, I mean, we thank you. You know, you're a great contributor to the channel. I really appreciate your input and stuff like that. But also, you know, people get over and support Paul on his journey with the channel as well. You know, it's great. I enjoy watching the content. I think, you know, I don't know. I love sometimes the sarcasm and all that sort of stuff in with it as well. And like the one where you were doing predictions and all that, that absolutely cracked me up.
Oh, yeah, you know.
I was all over it. I think it's fantastic.
What's the point? If you're going to predict, you might as well predict hard. So, I think my stupid prediction was we're going to beat Bayern Munich in next year's Champions League final. We're going to beat them 4-1, and I even gave the times of the goals. So, you know,
I still didn't think you predicted enough. You know, I still didn't.
Yeah, you said that, man. What's your big prediction then?
I'll be honest. I think I've already had a few of them, Paul. I think I had the Paratici one for sure. You know, alongside Jacko, but I also said to people, you eliminate a lot of the Poch era players that aren't good enough to be here. You replace them right throughout the team. You're going to see a better brand of football on the pitch, which we're currently seeing. So, you know, I think I've already called a few. I would say, you know, on players and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of predictions, Paul. I'm getting bored of them. It's you know, me and Jack are fed up with making predictions over here. We're going to hand that mantle over to you.
No, it's all fun, isn't it? And it's you know, we're all having a fun time at the moment. It's we're enjoying the ride again. So that's it's happy days to be a Spurs fan. And you know, and the more happy and stupidly confident we get, the more it annoys other fans, and they start saying things. Oh, you haven't won a trophy. How can you say you're the best? And it's like, if you need to ask how much it costs, you can't afford it, mate.
Absolutely, and that's my favorite part when you're winning. You can go and troll rival there. You know, you could pound the misery on teams that are losing. I absolutely relish on it.
You can put your chest out, you know. You can really puff your chest out, and you just feel more confident. Yeah, definitely,
for sure. But Paul, big yourself up, my man. Great chatting to you, and I'll speak to you again very soon. I've no doubt about it.
No worries, man. I'll see you next match, eh? Thanks
probably end up having a conversation beforehand somewhere along the line, but
yeah, you never know, man. You never know.
See you soon, man.
I'll let you put your top hat back on for your rugby friends now, David. So
no, they're not my rugby friends. They're not exclusive friends for rugby. They're friends that were going out to watch the match, and I said, you know what? I haven't been out with you in quite some time. I'll go with you. So no,
they've even had a few prawns.
No.
Yeah. You got a bit of caviar. You got a bit of caviar in your beard there, mate. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to get your butler at your apartment in Twickenham to freshen you up a bit.
Definitely.
Do you know what's great? I didn't even have to lift the spoon myself. I had someone to do it for me.
Nice one.
Paul, big yourself up, my man. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again soon, brother.
Cheers, man. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. See you soon, Paul.
See you soon, my man. Everyone, please get over and check out Paul's channel. Absolutely brilliant. We love Paul over here, so make sure you get over there and show the love to Paul for that as well. You know, and you know, just for all the contributions that he's made to here on shows and stuff like that. So make sure you get over and show that love.
Just quickly, Dave, Big Mike donated 5 memberships while we were having that conversation with Paul. He donated a membership to Spurs Spartan, to Ashwin, to Krista T, to Uncle Disraeli, and as well as Matthew Ball. Everybody take advantage of Big Mike's generosity next time on the fan show, please. And also, too, you do get sort of exclusive sort of rights to the trivia as well, which we did do last Friday. So next time that the trivia happens, you know, please take advantage of that. Join the leaderboards, get in with us, and have a nice, you know, cool and relaxed trivia night, but also a bit of competition added to it because there's a prize at the end of it. But please, everybody, take advantage of Big Mike's kindness. Thank you, my man.
Big up, Big Mike. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Big Mike was going to come and see us tonight and have a conversation with us. You know, but obviously, look, life things sometimes gets in the way. So, Big Mike, my man, really appreciate the support. Very, very kind and generous of you. First of all, everyone, please use that. You know, that love, that generosity, and make sure you avail of all the extra members content and that there is out there that Mike's already feasting on. But Big Mike, my man, will definitely organize something. You know, over the next week or so, and we'll get you on to have a conversation with us, you know, about this great club. So I really do appreciate it. Shame we couldn't have a conversation tonight, but we'll definitely speak again in the future, my man. Big up, Big Mike. And also shout out to the young lad as well. So big yourselves up.
Good man. Thank you, Big Mike. Thank you, sir. Hopefully, maybe our last guest this evening, if we can bring him on here. Mark, it says that your device is not connected, meaning that your camera or your microphone aren't really added in, and so we can't even bring you on screen if we wanted to, Marker, you know. And so if you're able to add a camera, able to add a microphone in the next few minutes, that would be great, because then we could have this conversation with you. But we can't even bring you on screen right now because for some reason
it doesn't even give us the option to add them in. It
doesn't even allow us to bring you on screen. You need to connect something. You need to connect a camera and or a microphone. Obviously, it'd be great if you could do both, but if you can just do a microphone, that would work, you know, anyways, for the end of the show here. But we'll give you maybe a minute or two here, Mark. Would love to have a chat with you, my man. Would love to have a chat with you.
For sure. We'll hold out for you, Mark, my man. We'll give you a minute or two. Balpinder D. Gania says, Dave, I'm in Dublin on Derby weekend. Where's the best place to watch the game? Let me get message me. If you can email me, my man, the email is in the description below underneath this video. If you message me, even on DM me or whatever on Twitter or whatever it may be, reach out, drop me your number, I'll get in contact, you know. I'll find out where Dublin Spurs are meeting if you want to go there. I'll find out where my guys, Kildare Spurs, where they're all meeting for their day out for that game if you want to go there. But I'll find you the best place to go and watch the game, my man. So definitely reach out, let me know. Drop me your number and I'll send you on details on where you can go and watch that, my man. But big yourself up. Do you know what? I'd love to come up and meet you. But unfortunately, you know, with all the match day content we're doing here, my day's taken up from the morning to the evening. And then everyone else will be giving out that you've took me away from them on the day. So, you know, but look, if you're here for a bit longer, let me know, my man. It'd be nice to meet up. Big up, brother. Big up. And, you know, Paddy Harnett will also help out. So big up, Paddy. He's great for this. Big up, my man. Absolute legend. But I believe we do have Mark in the background. Is it?
No, I think Shamu is joining in last minute. Mark, if you're able to add in that camera, my man. Oh,
I think he's gone.
He left. Came back, and we'll give him one more chance here. But then
2 minutes. He's 2 minutes away. He's almost there. So what we'll do is we'll.
There he is.
Here he is.
Bring him in here, Dave.
Let's get him on. So we've got two guests. We've got Mark, and then we've got Shamu, and then we will be ending off there. We won't be taking any more this evening. But look, let's get on Mark. Let's see how he is.
Gosh.
Big up, Mark, my man. How are you?
There he is.
Mate, how's things, mate? Please make it. Sorry, I'm not sure. You know, so London over the M25. For those of you who are local to London, it can be a little bit hectic.
Thanks for rushing home, Mark. We appreciate you.
Are you working?
Oh, how are you? Yeah. Sorry, just grabbing my headphones. Hang on.
No worries, Mark.
No, you're all good. You're all good. But look, you know, I think.
How's that? Is that better?
Sounding great, Mark. Sounding great.
Cheers,
Sounding
guys.
great.
Yeah.
Were you running as fast as a young Cootie Romero on the M25? You know, it looks like you were rushing home.
Nearly. Well, let's say with so it was a little bit slow, then it sped up. I was down the middle lane. This guy was overtaking me in this white shirt in the outside lane. I reckon say it was Brennan Johnson. Seriously, guys, fastest thing on two legs. It was outrageously fast.
Yeah. Good to see you back here, Mark. Good to see you back here. What would you like to chat about this evening? We've been chatting about Ange, you know, and we've been chatting about Perisic. We've been speaking about Richarlison. You know, where do you want to go, Mark?
Well, says all of the stuff. Says regards to chat. I said obviously regards to chat because I've caught some of the show, some I've caught, some I've missed part of it. But obviously, the main thing is huge excitement with this new Luka. This Luka Vuskovic. Is he the new Luka Modric? I'm not sure what you guys think. I mean, he's young. He's only 16. There's a huge long way to go. But the hype around him, oh my God, awesome.
Yeah, he has all the hype in the world, Mark. What I sort of am excited about is that this is sort of a kid that, from what I can tell, could pretty much have picked whatever club he had wanted, you know, to go to if the bid would have come in probably because he was linked to Real Madrid, AC Milan, Man City, and to have Tottenham Hotspur sign a player of that sort of level
that is
above
just
all
outrageous.
those clubs. It makes you feel good, doesn't it?
That is absolutely awesome. And I mean, the thing is, I'm sure it's absolutely. I mean, I think there's people are probably wondering, out of all the different clubs to choose, why did he choose us? Why not just go straight to City or one of the other high-spending clubs? But I think he obviously realised that if he goes to somewhere big like City, he's going to be on the bench. I mean, they're going to put people like Grealish on the bench. So someone like him, he wouldn't get game time. But he obviously realises with big Ange ball, he will get game time. We obviously need centre-backs. He can see that. He's been advised by his people, by our people. And I think the huge excitement, the fact that now we can finally see a pathway from the academy to the first team. That we haven't had that for years.
No, and it feels good to see that younger, because the younger players are the ones who would be able to tell, right? Because they're thinking of their future and they're looking at, you know, how can I best progress my game? And they're only going to be able to judge the clubs better than probably anybody else because they're thinking of their own future. If they see Spurs as a better chance to, you know, get into some first team action and be able to play at a higher level, that just makes me feel good. And it's kind of crazy how quickly that's been turned around. It's almost in the space of 6 months. You know, we've gone from, you know, the worst, you know, look of an academy and sort of a future to one of the best now in the space of 6 months. And that then leads me on to a certain Perisic then, Mark. And I think Scott Munn, he wants to hire a new director of football. Would you be a little upset if Perisic weren't, you know, allowed to keep his role as the director of football, or do you want to see a new director of football come in?
So, well, if he can still stay, it would obviously be wonderful. But I think probably people probably need to check some of the legal niceties. I don't even say. So I'm not sure whether or not he's allowed to, whatever the chain of command responsibility is. I think as long as someone could say he's okay, he's legally allowed to, that's fine. But if there are problems, there obviously needs to be something that's either have him in post, or if not him, I'm sure someone like him, he would have. I tell you, there would definitely be like a mini Don. There'd be a mini Don Paratici, because I guarantee you, someone like him, he comes from a family. He will have a brother-in-law. He'll have a cousin. There'll be a mini Paratici knocking around somewhere. I don't know, say Sicilia, Roma. In Venezia, there'll be someone say, and so the call will go out that said, "Mate, put your pizza down. Tottenham need you now. Come on, mate. Come on."
Gabbanini. I think Gabbanini's the mini Paratici at the moment. Absolutely love it, Mark. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And speaking of also the defense, though, it just feels good to have such tall and sort of modern looking center backs in the academy, and sort of for the future. You have this Vuskovic guy, Alfie Dorrington is in the academy. He looks fabulous. Ashley Phillips is being given a lot of confidence by Ange. Speaking of that, what do you make of the fact that Ange is giving so much confidence in an Ashley Phillips, maybe instead of an Eric Dyer or a Davinson Sanchez or players like that?
I think in terms of, it is absolutely massive. I think in terms of Spurs fans, what would we celebrate more? Either a new signing coming in, or Dyer, thankfully, on not even reaching the bench. That alone is worth a couple of signings to the fans. The fact, in terms of our defence, 63 goals last year. I don't know what the official record is, but that must be one of the worst records in modern times. Absolutely horrendous. And as I say, in terms of Conte, I totally respect the challenge he went through, the family stuff, the people he lost. It was really, really tough for him. But that defence, his game plan was built. The foundation was on the defence, and if his defence is leaking 63 goals. I'm sorry, he had to go. But the other thing, I'm sure, obviously, also as well, there's talk online that Cutie, and obviously, I think it is well known that Cutie had a huge big bust up with Conte, and they're saying it was a standoff, and the rumours are that Cutie told him, if he either told him or told people around him, if Conte stays, he goes, and that would have been absolutely tragic for us.
No, it would have been, and it does speak to how fractured that squad was and how divided that whole dressing room was. And when it does reach that sort of stage too, you have to think about, all right, who do we have to get rid of in order everybody to start feeling, good again? And while I sort of defended Conte probably more than others, you have to consider that. And I'm happy to see a happy Cutie Romero. I need to see a happy Cutie Romero. I think it's the year of the Rom-Bomb. Mark, I think we're going to see much more of those goals. It's Cutie Romero's year.
Banging them. He was just banging them in. Yeah.
I think he's going to once again look like one of the best defenders in the league. And I think people forgot about that. The first season he came in, everybody was kind of raving him up there as one of the best defenders in the league. Following season, we quickly forgot that. And I think he's going to remind us of it once again this season.
Oh, yeah. The strength, and as the strength he's got, I think especially with Cutie, the fact he's actually got people around him he can trust. Because if he's having to obviously say like mind the shop, if he's got Dyer, Davis one side, it must be an absolute nightmare for the other defenders. It's the squad, because bearing in mind that Cutie now, he's got Udogie, he's got Sarr, and they are just absolutely massive. The change they have made to the defence, it's unbelievable.
Also Vicario as well, it's huge, in terms of distribution wise, playing out from the back, and that's where I do think Conte was let down, and I think we have to be very careful not to put, all of Tottenham's woes on Antonio Conte.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
People come in and praise Ange Postecoglou, and rightly so. The style of football, everything else. But he's also got Vicario to work with, who is better than Lloris. He's got Van de Ven to work with instead of Thierry. He's got Doji to work with instead of someone like Ben Davies and people like that. So as we've seen, when you make changes and you bring in guys that Conte had to use, we can't progress the ball out from the back. And I've always maintained therein lies your biggest problem at Tottenham. They can't defend and they can't play football. So you've got a huge problem on your hands. So, I'll put it more on players than I do anybody else, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's fair enough. It's fair enough, Dave. Yeah. It's true, mate. It's true. It's true.
And look, you've got the fan forum coming up. As a Spurs fan, any questions you'd like to put to Daniel Levy? Or son?
Well, I mean, I suppose in terms of questions to ask, there was a couple of years ago, there was the golden generation with United when they had Beckham, they had Neville, they had all the stars coming through, the young generation. With us now, do we have a young generation with these young exciting players coming through? And what would it take? How should I put it? What would it take? What would it take for Levy to really back Ange and this new team? What would it take?
Great question.
I don't know whether it's either in terms of depth of squad, players in, players out. It may even be as simple as that. Literally, get the deadwood out, and once the deadwood is out, that alone, I think getting the deadwood out, I think that alone reassures the young players there's no way back for some of the other names.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I do think we've got a current golden generation. I think when you saying this with Tyler earlier, I think when you look at the under-17s, potentially under-18s, you can say that. I think with under-21s, I think there's been the added benefit of the recruitment. Players that we brought in from other clubs that have come in and hit the ground running. But that's also credit to the recruitment, right? That's we've seen, if you sign donkeys like Parrot or like Kitchen used to do, you get donkeys on the pitch, right? Performances. Whereas if you sign players of talent who can execute the basics on a consistent basis, regardless of the pressure, it makes your game easy. And that's why you're seeing a massive turnaround in the under-21s, And look, it can only bode well for Tottenham in the future, Mark, because I've always argued this and I've always said this. If you can get some of them youngsters coming through, it means you can save the money. You're not spreading your budget every summer. And then that way you can start sprinkling your team with a bit of class.
Oh, it's hugely.
Any youngsters out there you have your eye on that you think Spurs should be all over?
I'm not sure for the moment. The thing is, I think the one thing, in terms of, let's say, the games you've got coming up, the big thing is obviously as regards the bench. As long as Ange gives them some game time, I mean, it can be small, it can be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When the games say if we're ahead, we've got a little bit of a gap showing there. Get some youngsters on. It can be the last few minutes, last couple of minutes. They get a feel for the pitch, for the crowd, for the big occasion. Because I think the huge big thing we obviously saw with the let's say with the B squad in the other game, the pre-season they flattered to deceive. They had an amazing pre-season, but you put them in a competitive game and against Fulham in a cup tie, they just surrendered. So I think as regards with the young players, they need a little bit of experience, not much, but bring them in gently and slowly. But just and we've got games coming up. Just the last 5 minutes, last couple of minutes, throw them on.
Put them in a position to succeed, right? Don't put them in a position to fail. Don't throw them in a situation that might be too much for them. But we also have such a talented academy, Mark, that I feel like if a lot of these guys need to be given that chance, because I think they will swim and I think they will pass the test. I'm on the same boat as you. I actually do think we have a really talented generation coming through here. I mean, the amount of players that I could list that, are in that very talented category. I mean, it's just so many. It's probably listed in like 20 players or so. And when you have that many talented kids in an academy and they're all competing with each other and they're all sort of fighting for that first team, that's only a good thing. And that only means that the ones that do get picked have to be some of the best of the best. It's good to see a good, strong Tottenham Hotspur academy. That's for sure. And
Exactly.
what would you do? This is my last question for you here, Mark. What would you do maybe going into Sheffield United and Arsenal? Are you going to stick with Sonny at striker? Are you going to give Richarlison another chance? What would you do?
Well, I think in terms of so I think in terms of things like confidence, I think the one thing especially we saw in terms of, let's say, the cup tie before, when let's say Andrew's changing the squad, if the system's working and the players are fit, if the players come back for the last European games and they're fit, they're firing to go, please keep Sonny up front. As I'm sure you all saw with Ribsy, he came off against Brazil. The guy was in tears. He's under pressure. He needs a boost, but give him a little bit of gentle time, let's say, but on the bench. Stick Ribsy on the bench, say, last 10 minutes, say, a couple of goals to the good, bring him on, get his confidence up. But really, I think as regards Sonny really just now, the last hat-trick that he scored, he's on form. He is firing. You've got to get Sonny. You've got to. I think in terms of Sonny, you really got to get Sonny moving. So obviously with Ribsy, just really may say I think in terms of say the next couple of games, give Ribsy the bench. But the one thing I think is probably say with Ribsy, he's not going to score, or at the moment, as far as we can see, he's not going to score quantity of goals, but the quality. If you want to back Ribsy, North London derby, he'll get the Rabona, he'll get the screaming from like 40 yards unexpectedly. Oh, he's just going to come in from like nowhere. So especially with Ribsy, he's a confidence player. Once the first couple of goals come in, we really hope the floodgates will open. That would just be absolutely massive. Yeah.
That's what everybody has said, Mark, for a long time. He's just needed a big goal. He's needed like a screamer just to go in. Like it needs to be something there. He just thumps the back of the net. And then that way he can start to feel good about himself once again. But we also need to think about the team. And right now, I think Sonny might be the truth. Sonny might be the answer, down the middle for right now. Give Richie the break. Good to see you back, Mark. Thanks for coming on, man.
Really pleased to be here.
Great to see you, man.
Back.
Thanks,
Great
Mike.
to see you.
I missed you. I missed you in
Thanks,
person.
man.
So
Me
it's
too,
good to
guys.
see you back, Mark.
No, great to see you.
Because I'm in Ange we trust. Come on, you Spurs. Get in there, you Tottenham. Come on, you Spurs. In Ange we trust. Come on, boys. Come on.
In the mighty Ange. Big up, Mark. Absolutely love that. Great to see you back, brother. Great to see you back. Jack, great to see you back.
Good man, Mark. He makes me feel happy, Dave. He makes me want a happy clap, Mark does. He really does. He gives me that happy clapping feeling. Love that guy.
Yeah, he does. He does. He sends you into delusional trances about Tottenham, for sure. For sure. Absolutely love the guy. Full of energy, great humor. And, he knows his football. So, big up, Mark, brother. And great to have you back, my man. Now, going on to the last. Can't even get my words out on that time. I still have to have dinner yet. But look, let's get on to the last guest of the evening, and that is Shamu Van Woo. Let's get him on. Big up, Shamu.
Let's get that flag going.
Get the itch flag out, my man.
You happy with the new signing?
Yeah, he looks good, man. I mean, he is 16, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But he looks saucy on the ball, and he can take a penalty. Swivel on that, Sanchez.
What is it you like about the guy? What is it that you think you're a big believer in?
Oh, he's tall. You can't buy tallness, and he looks so comfortable on the ball. I've seen him skilling past some people like he's a midfielder or something.
Yeah. I
so
saw he's got highlights.
He's got the comfortableness on the ball, and he's tall and strong. So he's going to be a hard person to get the ball off, and if he's got the pace to match that, we're in with a winner here.
Definitely. And I also feel like, too, it's just good to sign somebody ahead of players or ahead of clubs like Man City, Real Madrid, AC Milan, signing, the most talented of players, that the big clubs are eyeing, feels good. Spurs rarely get to do that. It's like signing like Vitor Roque or like, before anybody else, or it's like signing some of those Brazilian talents before anybody else does. It does feel good.
Yeah, I think that Perisic might go the other way, though, next season or in the summer. That might be why he came here.
Is that how we got through to Hajduk split, do you think? Is we negotiated something with Perisic probably going the other way?
I reckon so.
Yeah, I sort of think
He's
that's
from
how
there.
we
He's
probably
from
got
all
ahead.
his family's from there.
Well, look, hopefully he has a bright future in the game. You know, I think he will. But look, Shamu, also a fan forum coming up, my man. What would you like to, what would you like to be seen addressed at this fan forum?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I'll leave it to the professionals like you guys. I just thought I'd come in and just say, "Come on, Vuskovic." And it's not Vuskovic. Some of the pronunciation I've been hearing from Spurs fans is not good.
So give us a rundown. Give us a rundown. Tell every Spurs fan how they say his name.
Luka Vuskovic.
Luka Vuskovic.
Yeah,
nicely
exactly.
done, Dave. Nicely done. Sounded
Exactly.
good.
Just
not
treat the
pronounced
U as an O and away you go.
Exactly. It's not that bloody hard. And he's got the best Croatian name as well, so he's a winner.
Well, all I will say is, Shamu, get round to me for me to pronounce his name wrong every single time. Even though some people say, oh, Dave, it's pronounced this way with a doji or whatever, I'll go with the one I made up when I first seen how it was written down, and then I'll go with that forever.
I'll keep you on track with the Croatian ones.
Nice.
Any other Croatian wonder kids there that we need to be looking at?
At Hajduk, I'm not too sure, but there is some young kids. There is one at Salzburg. They seem to breed the Croatian midfielders. They seem to all go to like the Red Bull kind of type thing, and yeah, come out from there. Okay. There's one Luka. I think his name's Luka as well. I think it's Sucic.
Sucic. Yeah, that's him.
He's like 6'4" and Cam, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember. Yeah, he's a big, tall midfielder for Salzburg. That's right. I'm trying to think.
Jeez, Jack, I'm just looking at their squad here. The amount of itches you got: Simic, Dedic, Pavlovic, Susic. You sure you're not a super fan?
I wish I was a fan of the Red Bull teams, but sadly not. But they have been, definitely. They've been taking a page out of my book, Dave. They've been going after a lot of the Balkan players.
They didn't sign me.
They even had Sheshko. They had Benjamin Sheshko at one stage, who's not niche, but
and
close.
Openda. I think Openda was there. I'm not Openda. Okafor. I think he was there, wasn't he?
No, Okafor was there. Sabotzlai originally came from RB Salzburg as well.
Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably where the real talent is. I must say, actually, is over at RB
all
Salzburg.
Over
yeah, they seem to have some real players, and they have players from all over as well, right? They seem to have guys from almost every nation to like around the country or around the world. Really, they don't seem to even specialize in just one area. They'll have really talented French players to really talented Israeli players. I think that's
Norwegian player.
I think that's the player from RB Salzburg that actually everybody should look at. I think his name is like Oscar Glauch or like Oscar Glauch or like something like that.
Yeah.
He's like the other Solomon. He's like the next most talented player next to Solomon. So I would say RB Salzburg, absolutely rate it. Go ahead.
Shamu, what do you make of Angeball so far?
I'm enjoying it, but we're still early in. When we had the same amount of points under Conte, we had 10 points after 3 or 4, so whatever it was. So we were doing that last season, and Nuno was also undefeated for a bit and got manager of the month. And look how that went. I say we wait. If we get through these next few games and say we beat Arsenal at the shitty Ritz, then I'll be a bit more gassed. But I say we wait until like January and see if we get some more signings and stuff, and then we can start to feel where we're going to go.
If we beat Arsenal at the Emirates, you've lost balance, Dave, or Dave, sort of on an even kill. You've lost me. I've gone into complete delirium, complete, delusion. If we win,
it's enjoyable to watch, though.
I suppose some people find it enjoyable to watch. But look, I think Andrew's done a good job. But look, I'm a bit skeptical, right? Underneath Antonio Conte last season, it won't be spoken about because many people want Conte to, burden the majority of the brunt for our problems, or what were problems at Tottenham Hotspur at the time, is that we got off to our best start to a Premier League season ever underneath him. But it tailed off. Under Jose Mourinho, we're top of the league, it tailed off. And Jack said this, always seems to be in and around October, November. October, for instance, is when Nuno got sacked. So, I think it was also the same time Pochettino also ended up losing his job to Jose Mourinho as well. So, for me, look, I think if we can get through that period, I think we're on to a good thing. And I think then we can say we've moved on from the past for sure.
And injuries will be massive too.
Yeah. Yep. Although I do think with injuries, I think the club are going to back themselves bringing up under 21 players in certain areas. Which look,
Thiago Santiago, he's a baller. That guy knows how to finish.
Santiago's good. I think the problem with him is sometimes there's a bit of inconsistency to his, some performances he's amazing, some he's not.
Bit like Richarlison then.
Yeah. What do you make of Richarlison's form at the minute? What would you do with him?
Keep him on the bench. And if he doesn't improve by January, see ya. Because he's useless.
Look, for me, I think the club will definitely have to make a call on it. I think they'll give him the season for sure. But I think it also depends how Valise sort of adapts and comes through as well, right? Because they're hoping that Valise will be the guy going forward. So I think it also depends on how he sort of starts to develop. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And Shamu, of course, I didn't really get to speak to you too much over the transfer window. What was your thoughts on transfer window overall?
I would have preferred to see another centre back in. Like if we had got Tapsoba and Mickey, I would have been like yes. But the one centre back I think is not enough. I think we needed another one and probably a centre mid, another CM who can kind of do a jack of all trades type role.
Would you have accepted like a Tosinata Rabayo, someone like that instead? That was probably something that was pretty realistic for us, but we didn't actually end up doing. Would you have accepted that instead of a Tapsoba? Would you have been all right with that?
I guess so. If I'd known in the future we would have got rid of old mate Davenport, then yeah, because we've basically got Dyer as cover now. Oh geez, Portnoy's bum boy.
Dyer.
Yeah, he hangs out with Portnoy. Him and Portnoy are mates.
I don't think they hang out. I don't think they hang out at all.
Oh, they probably do. They probably do. Dyer's not even on the bench anymore. You're probably hanging out with him doing his pizza reviews.
He'll be on the
he's not playing.
Podcast. Yeah.
Look, I just can't be waiting to wash my hands with the problem of a lot of these guys, to be honest with you, and not even so much. Just players that are so anti-football. I just want to wash my hands with them. The beautiful game. It's not hard. Control the ball, pass it, move it to receive, move on to receive it. It's one of the most simple sports in the world. That these guys made look so complicated. It was unbelievable. I just can't wait to see them gone. Look at me now. I'm enjoying football. I'm vibrant, full of life. Love it.
Don't speak too soon though. It might all go downhill. That's
look,
that's the Arsenal fans' problems. They will get so gassed and it's massively annoying. Like here in New Zealand, it's full of Arsenal fans. So it's just like the gas that they have, it's not even like good on you. It's just like go away more like.
Yeah. Look, I can't wait to meet them mugs next week. I'm feeling we can turn them over in the Emirates. Big up, Philly. Really appreciate that, my man. Absolute legend. We love you too, brother.
Good to see you in the house.
Look, I can't wait to rock up to their house, stomp all over their yard, and take the 3 points with a walk out without any sort of.
If someone's going to the game, they should take a dump in the bathroom and not flush it down at the Emirates.
Well, look,
that's
we'll
my
be
plan.
entering a toilet bowl, so make sure you bring plenty of toilet roll with you when we enter that toilet bowl. Oh, but look, Shamu, I'm going off to have some dinner now because your boy's very, very hungry.
Yeah,
so I appreciate
your
time this evening, my man, and good to see you.
All aboard the Vuskovic train.
The itches are coming in, Shamu.
Oh yeah, soon I'll be getting the call and I'll be playing. I'll be coming out of retirement.
Nice.
Never know. You never know, lad. But look, Shamu, big yourself up, and good seeing you again. Good talking to you, my man.
All right, lads.
See ya. Have a good one.
See you, lad. Bye-bye. Everyone, big up Shamu. Great to see the guy back. In there on the Croatian chain, he absolutely loves it. Him and Jack, had a really good bond of itches and Croatian players and stuff like that. I would suggest some cream, if you've got an itch problem. But look,
definitely. Sean Brown, thank you, my man. We are just ending off. That was the last guest, Shamu, and we're here towards the end. We've wrapped things up. Everybody, thank you so much for coming in on the show. So many of you guys decide to come on and have your say. A lot of faces, that maybe we don't always get to see, but kind of some good returners, and as well as a lot of the regulars too. Really just good to have a good chat with everybody. And also as well, thank you to everybody who threw in their member sort of milestones. Chris, Mia W, Phil Coys, as well as Paul Markey for showing some support to the channel. Wayne Bonner as well. Big up to you, Wayno. Just a girl who loves Spurs. Kate, I do hope that you start to feel a bit better, and I hope that Jim starts to feel a bit better as well in the near future. And also to Jim, just hang in there, my man. I'm glad that you enjoyed the show, but really do appreciate you even tuning in the first place. I know you guys didn't have the best of weekends, and I hope it turns around for you both. But big up to Jim, big up to Moondog. Thank you as well for your support. Ben Kaufman in here as well, member for 25 months, absolute legend. But yeah, everybody, thank you for coming on and having your say. Thanks for keeping Dave and I company. Thanks for making these fan shows what they are and making them possible in the first place. But we will be seeing you tomorrow for, what are we having? I think we have a few pre-records that Dave and I are going to be doing behind the scenes. We're going to be recording a podcast as well that will be released to you Wednesday. So we will be keeping busy, everybody, tomorrow. But do look out for something that's going to be coming your way. Anything else that they should know about, Dave?
Yeah, no, also Big Mike, fair play to you for throwing out them memberships to people as well. Absolute legend on top of that, brother. Absolutely really nice thing to do, and big up everybody. I'll just come to think, I think I missed Wayne Bonners. I don't think I addressed it. I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's that long ago. Maybe I did. But look, if I didn't, Wayne, we'll definitely bring it up on the next live show we do, and we'll have a discussion on it, brother. But look, everyone, your boys, we've got we're recording a couple of episodes of a new show tomorrow. That'll drop next week, so make sure you look out for that, and hopefully you enjoy it. And we will have a podcast out for you Wednesday morning as well. Of course, we're recording that tomorrow evening. And look, I'll have a listen to Ange on TalkSport at 10 a.m. and I'll see whether it's worthy doing maybe a little short over or something like that. So look, stay tuned, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Go and get some sleep. Have a good evening. Those of you over the other side of the world, have a great day. Come on, you Spurs. In the Big Ange we trust. We never stop.
In the Big Ange we trust. Come on, you Spurs. See you, everybody. Have a good night. We're going to have a good rest of your day, all you Australians. See you, everybody.
See ya.
Everywhere we go.